Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 370. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Brujerismo! Brujeria!
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Adam Vale.
Hey, how you doing?
Mr. Brujeria himself, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what's going on? All right, Brett actually texted me a little while ago. He'll be here eventually. And Brian, we don't know what's going on with him. He's hanging out the House of Commons or something, you know?
Maybe it's daylight savings time over there.
Maybe it is.
He's gallivanting around the universe with the doctor.
He's hanging out with the prime minister at a party.
Yeah, they have fucking... What did they have over there? Biscuit and whatever.
Trumpets and...
tea and crumpets. You know? Oi. Yo, I remember the other day somebody was posting like post a picture of yourself and your ethnicity. Now the idea was you post a picture of yourself and your nationality flag, right? So I'm switching this shit up. So I had a picture of me and Mangu right next to it, right? But then some other people started doing their own version. So this one girl, she's English, right? She was a picture of herself and like fucking the driest, nastiest beans you could see. I'm like, oh, she's British. it wasn't dry. It was like just porridgey, nasty, fucking disgusting beans. I'm like, British. Oh man. I guess that's one thing I'm not looking forward to too much, Carlos, when I go to England. It's like, because I heard that food is bland as fuck.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I mean, you're probably going to be in London.
Yeah.
London is like kind of like a mini New York. So, there'll be food from other places.
Wait,
I got to go. I got to go see if they got a Dominican spot over there, You
gotta go.
Never know. You got platanos in Europe? Excuse me?
Tony, when are you going? When are you leaving?
Well, we don't know. I can't talk about that, but I do plan to be in England within the next couple of years,
Oh, okay.
Either for visit or for work or for both,
Yeah, I would like to go. I got my passport. I'm finally allowed to leave the country.
Yeah.
So
I gotta get my passport in general, Manny, you said I could go to the place on where the division is, right? I can just go there and do it.
Yeah, you should be able to do it there. I mean, I think the
base of operations.
The post office is still open over there, but I mean, and there's also the alternative in going to Jamaica because they
any post office.
Yeah.
Any post
no,
office.
not every post office does it. Like he can't do it at his little dinky like mini post office right where he.
Manny, what about the post office right by the movie theater where Chris used to work? Because that's the main post office for my zip code.
Go on the website. That's the best thing to do. Go on the website.
Yeah.
See if they say.
Here's the thing. Like when I did the search for passports, the only place they gave me was that big one in the big one in Jamaica.
Yeah. Interesting.
But and I know for a fact that the one on the next to across the street from Madison Square Garden, Penn Station, all that. I know that one does it because they literally had a big old sign across. It's like, hey, we do passports.
Hey, wait a minute. 2022, I can't do this shit over the internet?
No, not that shit. You got to bring a bunch of documentation in person.
I can't just scan that shit and send it?
No, they want your original documentation.
Those motherfuckers.
Your original birth certificate. They take that shit and they mail it back to you.
They better have a translator. My shit's in Spanish.
What? Wait. So I don't know if this is just a New York thing, but I did it all online.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, it's 2022. That sounds backwards.
I did mine 2 years ago, and I couldn't do it online. I had to go in person. I had to bring a copy of my, my original birth certificate and my social security and all that stuff. And they take did they take my social? I don't know if they took my social, but they definitely took my birth certificate.
No, they take your birth certificate.
Yeah, they took it, and they said, we'll mail it back to you. I'm like, my original? They're like, yeah.
Yep.
Actually, to clarify it, I was renewing my passport.
You can renew it online.
Renewing it, you can do that through the internet.
Yeah, you can do that through the
internet. In the system. You're already been approved.
But the initial one, that all has to be done in person, and
they take a picture of you and shit.
The most you can do is probably print out the paperwork that you'll need to do it. But yeah, you need to bring all that stuff in there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
your
shit!
Birth certificate. And your green card, because you're, maybe not green.
Hey, Manny, it says here it says here the post office by 71st and Continental. I could do it at.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's even better.
Don't go to Jamaica.
No,
Jamaica is a trip,
go to that one.
I could do that. Well, I can't do it during work, but yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
No. Yeah. Okay, yeah, they didn't used to do it before there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right by the train station. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
They answer a lot of questions, so get ready to answer all kinds of weird shit.
Man, whatever. But yeah, I need to get the passport because, I mean, in general, I'm pretty sure when things aren't as crazy, I'm probably going to be going to some crazy ass countries for tech reporting. So you get ready for that, because I know some dudes were like, yeah, you got to go to Taiwan sometimes and shit, Korea. Carlos, get ready, man. I may have to go to Korea one day,
Let's go.
All right, people. So we're here to answer questions, not about passports, but video game questions.
Peacemaker. Oh.
Yeah. All right. I'm pretty sure everybody can guess what the questions are all about tonight.
I don't know.
Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. Let's go.
It's coming. They did that teaser.
Yeah. So. We didn't get no questions about Sifu. But by the way, the embargo for that lifted on a Sunday. I've never heard that before. Very strange.
Didn't the game come out today?
Yeah, which is also weird. I'm like, on a Sunday? What? You could wait 2 more days, bruh?
Is there anything big? I don't know if anything big is coming on Tuesday, so it's not like they were trying to avoid something.
Yeah,
maybe they are trying to avoid something.
I don't know.
No, isn't something coming out next week? I'm pretty sure something.
Not this week that I know of.
I think because I'm supposed to be reviewing that one. I think that comes out on the 8th.
Is that Aerosmith game?
I don't know.
Or that's Revolution
X. It's a first-person shooter. It's a first-person shooter by the Remedy team, the guys that did the original Max Payne and Control and all that.
Showed my age. All right. First question here. Mob hits. You're ready? No. All right. He goes, with Sony's acquisition of Bungie, do you guys think it was a desperation move or a waste of money?
Waste of money, man.
You think it was a waste of money?
Yeah, because it whenever, especially when they were talking about, before this even happened, just the situation going on with Destiny, all the DLC have been pretty much bombing. Just people from the community just saying that it's grindy. I know 2 people that play, they're like, it's just a lot of grindy stuff. It doesn't really feel new and fresh. They're hoping this new one does, but it's really fallen off over the years. And people are just bored with it. So for them to spend all this money, it's like, unless they know something that we don't, that maybe they're working on some new engine or they got a Destiny 3 coming or something, I don't see why they would spend so much money on them. Like, if it was at the top of its game, like right now, if we're like, shit, these are the top games, you got Call of Duty, Destiny's always up there, that's not the case.
Destiny's still pretty up there, but I totally forgot, Adam, you weren't here on Thursday, because this is what we kind of generally believe. They really did this because they want to bolster their live service games. Remember, they wanted Bungie, not specifically to make all 10 of them, but they wanted to be kind of the spearhead of the 10 live service games. By the way, we were all skeptical about that. I'm like, really? I don't know about that. 10 games between 2022 and 2026? I don't know about that, but basically Sony, I'll let you go in a bit, but basically, I give context to it. Sony, the biggest gaping hole they have is they have no real multiplayer anything, right? Yeah. Let's just be honest there. So I think they bought Bungie as a means to, fill that hole. And as, Chris rightly brought up, they actually only really paid $2 billion. The other billion was to keep the talent there.
Anything with the B is wrong because it's just not right. But what I'm thinking is it's not even about Destiny. It's Bungie themselves, and maybe there's other IPs that Sony has that they would like to revive as a first-person shooter. I'm like, well,
that's speculation right there. We don't know.
That's me. That's just me thinking. Like, that's the only reason why.
You're speculating.
Which is fair.
That's what I'm saying. It's just my own thought on it. I'm just thinking that's what I would think that, because I'm like, Destiny is not worth that much money. It's not. It's not one of those. I
think it's not just Destiny. I think it's the studio. I think it is worth that much money. I think it is.
It's got to be the studio to make other games and not just Destiny. It's like, all right, we're picking you guys and we'll buy this. We want the talent, but we
remember, they want the expertise to help them. With the live service games.
So what's up with Tencent? Because Tencent had a large chunk.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
Bungie. So did they buy them out?
I don't know. Remember, they just have Tencent probably still has ownership of that chunk.
They gave him $100 million.
Remember, Tencent doesn't own Bungie,
no.
Was it Tencent or NetEase?
One of those. But Chris, correct us. Like basically, if NetEase or Bungie, somebody look this up, please. They still own that part, regardless.
Yeah, well, they paid for a seat on their board, so keep that seat. Yeah, they paid. Adam's right about the price. I think it's NetEase and not
NetEase. Yeah, it would be kind of for obvious reasons we get them mixed up, but
it's so crazy. That here it is. Sorry, so they were with Microsoft. Then they wanted their freedom. They bought their stocks back. They left. Then they go to Activision because then they said they wanted to be independent. Mm-hmm. We don't need a big company. Then they sign and they do the Activision deal. And then the Activision deal falls apart. And they're like, we want our freedom. Then they get off. Then they get whoever gave them $100 million and bought some stock. And then they're doing that. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do our own thing. We can't wait. We're free. Blah, blah, blah. And then now this shit happens.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, man. Something is wrong there. It reminds me of like when you always see a job posting from a good company. And like, damn, that's a good company. But why is that job posting there? It's been like 7 months. Still there. Something is wrong with the position or management or something. And that's what I'm thinking is going on here. There's something else wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go that far. I think it was basically Sony going, "Hey, we need multiplayer games. These guys are one of the best at it. Let's buy them." And they already had that previous relationship. As we always said, Sony never buys studios they're not familiar with. It's always like, "Hey, we've been dating for a while. We should get married." You know, it's always something like that. Go ahead, Chris.
Activision kept saying that they always wanted to be. I mean, Bungie kept saying, "Oh no, we want to be independent."
Well,
that's what they kept saying.
When they saw that money.
That's the joke. I mean, we talked about this when we were covering the whole Bungie leaving Activision. We're like, they want to be independent. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, whose lap are you going to run towards next? That because they've given us the same thing every time. It's like I don't believe you. It's like you left Bungie. I mean, you left Microsoft, who you had a great partnership, launched Halo, one of the biggest franchises of all time.
You had the Halo 3. Remember the DVD, the extra that showed that Lowe's that they bought and converted into
the theater, right?
That was amazing. I was like, I want to work there. They had the lights off. They only had light trails on the to lead to deaths and shit. I was like, that's beautiful.
It was a great partnership, and they wanted to go independent, and then I was like, okay, I guess they don't want to be in the claws of Microsoft making them the Halo factory. But then they went straight to Activision. That was, I was like, that's a dead giveaway. I'm like, yeah, you don't leave Microsoft to go to Activision because you want to be free. And what happened? They left them.
They didn't hit the numbers because I remember it was about the numbers, and financially they weren't hitting it. And that's what I'm saying. It's never hit that point where it was on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but they just they left Activision, and then the first thing I said when we can run the tape back, I said, I wonder who they're gonna go to next, and it was just a matter of time. They were gonna run to the lap of someone else.
Right. And I think they're looking for a balance because when they say they want to be independent, what they want to do is like have the backing of a major publisher, but be able to do their own projects. And Activision was the worst
sugar daddy
one to they want sugar daddy, but the Activision is the worst sugar daddy to have because they're like, oh, Destiny, that's all we want, right? Like Guitar Hero and everything else. Like once they latch onto a franchise, they just run it into the ground. So they're like, no, Destiny 2, let's say make plans for Destiny 3, 4, and 5, and they're probably like, fuck this, we're done, So with Sony's deal, they're looking for that balance, right? They're like, oh, Sony's like, oh, no, yeah. We're going to give you your independence. You're going to help us with our live services. We're going to leverage your IPs and do media and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, you're going to be second party, right? That nebulous second party studio. So you're not really under PlayStation Studios, so you get to do your own thing. But we actually own you, but
Yeah.
Did you guys think it was a good deal?
Yeah, I think so.
You think it was a good deal?
Yeah, I thought it was. Sony needs it. Sony needs it, man. They really do. Go ahead.
I think it works out for their needs, but at the same time, it's like, let's see what this current regime at Sony does with this.
The Ryan regime.
We talk about the Ryan regime. I mean, again, we live in a world where they literally closed off one of their internal studios for what? When they're trying to bolster the amount of titles that they're on there. Oh, yeah, just close down that Japanese studio. and let go of all these people that made these games that everybody knows.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah. Chris, J Shep specifically wants to know if you thought it was a good deal, if they got their money's worth.
Well, here's the thing. I honestly don't know. I can't say no because I know Bungie in the past has created a lot of technologies that Microsoft has leveraged, but that was back in the early 2000s. Like all the things that we loved about Xbox, like live chat and all that stuff, and matchmaking, they pioneered that.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft's like, all right, we're pulling that out, and we're giving it to everybody is in our APIs. Like, oh, okay, so I'm and they have a lot of learnings with multiplayer, netcode, and all that stuff. So that's what Sony wants to leverage. So that if as long as they're still innovating on that, maybe so that they get that talent, right? I don't know what Sony's calculation is, how valuable Destiny is as an IP outside of video games, but they're obviously eyeballing that for movies and TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? They said media. Right?
Yes, right. Yes, right. Yeah. That's the other thing
Yeah.
you got to talk about, the whole media aspect of it as well.
Yeah. So they want to leverage the Destiny IP as and put it in theaters, right? Just like Uncharted and whatever. So that's what they're looking at too.
I mean, anybody here? I don't know because we.
Yeah, Adam, it's
funny
basically
too
not just
because-
about a single franchise.
No. But that's the whole thing. Who's the face of this game? You know what I mean? Like we know Halo, the Master Chief. When it comes to Destiny, we played it. Remember, we did 1 and 2, and I can't tell you.
You are the face of it.
It's the guy Manny put on the
Kate
show.
Six.
It's that guy. Yeah,
Who is that guy?
He's the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That guy.
That's
No,
what I'm saying.
Chris is our boy Broyles, man. He's in that game,
I am in this game.
Broyles
Yeah.
should be the face of it.
The only person I remember was
he can cross over with himself from Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's
There you go.
right.
Broyles is
and from Dead Space, right? Like,
and from Dead Space.
Broyles is the new Kevin Butler. He should just be the VP of
Yeah.
all things PlayStation.
yeah. But the thing with Destiny, it doesn't have a face. Just like Call of Duty doesn't have a face. It's just you are Call of Duty. You know,
Well, that's
it's
what
like
I'm saying.
that.
I just would never imagine a Call of Duty movie because it doesn't have it. Like they had Price and a few others part of the series, but they're not so much just a distinct. Or you're the go-to like a Nathan Drake or something.
Oh, I just realized something. Adam, you just brought up a good point. But because Destiny doesn't have a face, the movie has that freedom to just do what it wants to do. You know?
Then,
Yeah,
then it's not a
make a new
Destiny. It's just a sci-fi movie.
No, it's a Destiny. Well, it is Destiny. You know, it's still within the world.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
As long as it has the lore of the game game.
Yeah, Destiny was never about a specific character. It's about the world and all that.
Destiny dude or woman could be anybody.
Anybody, exactly.
There's so much power you can have when you tie in something to an existing IP and correlate it with a video game that's already popular.
Yeah,
so that,
exactly.
We've seen it with Tomb Raider and some other ones. So we'll see.
Yeah, you know there's gonna be some ignorant people, right? They go see a Destiny movie. Oh shit, they already got the video game. You know?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to a Destiny movie. That's not me.
It's a video game.
I'm not
It's a movie.
It's
Destiny, the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's Destiny,
That's
the
we played
movie.
the story. I can't even remember it. There's nothing to take in.
Well, you got to go read the cards on Destiny's
there's nothing
website,
that-
you know?
It just
Yeah.
sticks out. It's like,
All right, yeah, go ahead.
Remember that was what is it? Brad was like, yo, Dark Souls doesn't have a story. He's like, yeah, you got to read all the tablets.
You got to read on the tablets, exactly. I don't have time to explain to you why I don't have time. Remember that? That's like a meme and shit. It's like, damn it, you really don't want to tell me a story, don't you, motherfucker?
Nah, read it yourself.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, man. We still got a lot of questions tonight.
We put this in a text document just so that you could read it.
Yeah.
That's old school for you guys out there, where games like fucking Quake didn't have the story in the game, that you literally had to read the text file to find out what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, I mean, remember that in general, like
Destiny did that. The first one.
Yeah, it did.
Go on the website. It was like, oh, you want the rest of the info? Here's a little brief, but go to the website and then
yeah. That's what I was making fun of. You know, you got to get those fucking cards.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. We got a lot of questions tonight. This one is from one subset. Actually, here's interesting. The first question he asks us is, how do we feel about the Bungie deal? Referred to the last episode, throw it on episode 370. We tell you all about
it's
it.
All right there for you.
Yeah, and you just heard Adam's thoughts. So there you go. That's how we feel about it, right? For the question that we're going to answer tonight is, how long will the honeymoon phase last between Sony and Bungie? As Adam said, Bungie likes to move around. So when is Bungie going to be like, we want a divorce?
Yeah. Well, so what is Microsoft was 7 years and Activision was 8 years?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Somewhere in there.
All right.
It's the honeymoon. That's it.
That's our answer. Yeah. 7 to 8 years.
7 to 8, give it 7 to 8 years, they'll get bored of doing X game and or whatever, and they'll be like, Bungie's gonna be going off and doing its own thing. Yeah, we get our freedom.
Yeah, we cherish our freedom. Yeah, exactly.
Fuck Sony.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
All right, yep, that's a simple one answer. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, Black Mage. All right, his Black Mage. First question here is, if the FTC successfully blocks the Microsoft Activision deal, what do you see as a feasible course of action for Microsoft? Do they modify the deal to make it similar to the Sony Bungie deal, or take it all the way to the Supreme Court? Will they go after another target? Right. As for that one, remember, Microsoft didn't go after Activision. Activision came to them.
I don't know why
people don't seem to understand. Remember, Microsoft did go to Activision before, and Activision was like, "No, we're good." And as we said on the Thursday show, if Activision was the same company as it was now with the scandals and all that shit, but behind the scenes that nobody knew about it, they wouldn't be selling themselves at all. So just keep that in mind. Microsoft, because the narrative is like Microsoft is just out there gobbling up all these companies. That's not what's happening. They bought Bethesda. They sought out Bethesda. They bought them. And with Activision came to them. Do you think you're going to be like, no? Of course they were going to take it, But anyway, for this specific thing, Chris, I'll go to you with the whole FTC thing. What can Microsoft do if the FTC actually blocks it?
Well, they can appeal it. They can take it to court and get them to arbitrate it. I would say they would push on it because the FTC would have to prove that the union of Microsoft and Activision would create some unfair market practices in terms of entertainment, and that's tough to prove. You're saying you're trying to prove a hypothetical that somehow Microsoft acquiring Activision would squeeze out Sony, Nintendo, and other guys from being able to conduct business as they normally do. And then it's like, well, how is that? And that's tough. Yeah. That's tough to prove. So Microsoft, I think this deal will go through, even if the FTC blocks them. I think the FTC would have a tough time in a trial proving that this this acquisition hurts the industry, and it's anti-competitive and whatever. Now, that's not to say that the implications of this acquisition in the future, but you can't say that. Like, if now everybody goes on a free-for-all, starts trying to buy studios, Google and Apple and Amazon start all going like, oh, well, we just got to grab everything before Microsoft grabs it. That creates an unfair environment, right? You don't want that to happen. But you can't stop somebody from doing a deal saying like, well, it's going to cause your competition to do the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the free market. That's how it works. What you do is you have to analyze it case by case. If Amazon goes and decides, well, we're going to buy EA, well, then you go, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Then you don't have anyone left, and then Apple goes, oh, we'll buy Take-Two. Okay, we'll buy THQ. Oh, well, then it's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it'll probably go through, but yeah, it would be interesting. Because again, as we talked about on the Thursday show, usually it's the Justice Department that kind of handles this stuff. This time it's the FTC coming in, seeing what's up. But again, there's a lot of other game companies out there, so it's not like Microsoft has a monopoly on all the gaming. So I see this, it'll go through, I think,
Yeah, and I mean, even when they did all those comparisons between all the other studios, even with this acquisition, Microsoft is still going to be number 3 in terms of revenue for as a gaming publisher. Yeah, this deal is gonna go through. I don't think there's enough to take it off. Yeah, I think it's funny. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going. It's not going to be like the whole T-Mobile Sprint deal. Remember that? That's a forever.
Yeah, or the Nvidia ARM deal. That was chopped in the head. But
yeah.
I find it funny though. I've been seeing on Twitter a lot of people posting sort of like a pie chart of all these studios, and like it has like all the individual studios in the specific pies. So it's like Sony, it's like Naughty Dog, Sony Santa Monica, all their studios, and it's like Microsoft with it's like a whole bunch of them. And like fanboys are using it to fight each other.
Of course they are. By the way, I saw a lot of that this weekend. I'm like, you guys don't even take the weekend off, do you, man? It's just fanboying all day, every day, literally all day, every day.
No man, how many games you been playing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, these guys play. Yeah, these guys don't play games. They just argue on Twitter all day. You know, they don't have time to play games because they're busy arguing. You know. There's Brett. Give him a little bit. All right, he'll show up when he shows up. All right, man. Next question here from Mr. Kishak. Oh, Brett left again. This one's kind of related to the last one. All right. With Microsoft being investigated by the FTC and the buyout of Activision Blizzard still ongoing 18 months from now, do you see Microsoft still trying to purchase studios, or do you think they'll lay low right now to avoid being labeled as monopolistic? I imagine this also gives Sony plenty of time of buying studios, publishers that otherwise would have been bought by Microsoft during those 18 months of the deal being finalized. Again, Microsoft isn't just out there eating up everything in its wake. It's just they bought Bethesda like almost 2 years ago, and then this Activision thing kind of fell on their lap. It's not like they're just you're just gobbling everything up in sight.
Exactly.
You know,
if a studio walks in and says, "Hey, we're for sale, and this is our asking price. You interested?" That's not Microsoft's fault if they say okay.
Yeah, exactly. So again, that narrative kind of bugs me. But like people in the chat are saying, this is mostly being pushed by fanboys, you know. But that's not what's happening. But at the same time, optics are optics, right? So it does appear that way. So what can Microsoft do to? Because it would be stupid of them not to buy another company just because of some fanboys on Twitter, you know.
Yeah. I mean, quick question. Aren't most large acquisitions like this investigated? Like, isn't investigation part of the process of large mergers and acquisitions?
It is, but in this case specifically, what's interesting is that it's the FTC jumping in directly instead of the Justice Department would normally handle it. But yes, in general, these things are investigated, of course.
That just sounds like this is out of our pay grade. We're handling it to somebody else. Like, I don't foresee there being a problem with that. I mean, we live in a world where Disney owns everything, right? Like, Microsoft is by and large not the biggest anything. So, like, I think that it is investigated, but I don't think it's necessarily indicative of Microsoft having a monopoly.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that's what you guys are saying too.
The Disney 20th Century Fox deal was worse than whatever Microsoft just did. So,
that was investigated too.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
And it
happened.
And went through. They did the investigation to find out exactly what's going on.
Think about it. Like in short order, Disney acquired Marvel, Lucas, and Fox. Just bam. One after the other. Yeah, they're all investigated. ESPN, they acquired ESPN years before that. And they all got invested, all went through. And you could argue, it's like, dude, how many IPs do you own? I mean, the Fox library by itself is enormous.
All of them.
Remember, they talked about bringing Firefly back, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
You wait until they don't want it anymore. God damn it.
Just look up companies like Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble and all those things. They own so many fucking things, man. It's crazy.
I was, Carlos, just on that. I just realized, because I was looking into what are the best, what are the best credit card companies? There's only 4 of them. If you really think about it, holy shit, that's crazy. Like, basically every credit card that is out there belongs under these 4, right? And if you go to book publishing, there's only 5 book publishers.
Yes.
Well, I guess it just depends. Like, if you're talking about the actual bank, or are you talking about like Visa, like the technology?
Yeah, I'm talking about if I'm missing any, let me know. Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express.
Yeah, they're. I guess they're not. They're like the underlying technology for the transactions. So they're kind of like they're different from like, for example, like a J.P. Morgan or Wells Fargo.
Yeah, but if I'm pretty sure those companies, if you get like their debit card, probably a MasterCard or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they have sort of like a monopoly on those types of technologies.
Yeah. But I just said that to say what you said, to kind of bolster what you just said. It's like that this happens all the time, man. Like Johnson and Johnson or what? Actually, are they the parent company or who owns them?
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson is the parent company. I mean, they make they make baby powder and they make fucking vaccines.
And they make your fucking the dick pills, right? Don't they do that too?
No, that's Pfizer.
Oh, it's Pfizer. Okay, they do that. But who owns them?
That explains what happened after I got my Pfizer shot.
Pfizer's the parent company.
Oh,
as a matter of fact, there was some
got that real booster shot,
Dude, I'm saying. I was looking at the lady. She was like, I said, don't worry, it's not about you. She said, I see it all the time. It's part of the shot. I'm like, that's a side effect. Damn.
Swing.
Nestle owns everything from chocolate to water rights.
Oh, yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys remember a time when they were like $1 for water? Are you fucking crazy? Now everybody does
free. Now it costs you a fee because it's all about getting that cash money.
I want to. Interestingly enough, isn't Sony considered a bigger game? Like, isn't it Sony and then Tencent in that order of biggest game developers?
I think Tencent
and
is
Sony, and then all the other ones. But
so,
I
like, technically speaking, Sony acquiring a company with a lot of IPs would be under more investigation and have more of a chance not to get passed, because they are a larger part of the industry right now.
Yeah, I mean, if Sony acquired Activision, I think I'd be under more scrutiny than Microsoft.
Oh, I think this is all just clickbait shit.
And then it'd be that same sort of situation, like when they tried to get their hands on all of the anime production studios. They had Crunchyroll and they got
Funimation.
You can't have a monopoly on the weebs.
You can't.
Well, I mean, I don't know what these guys are arguing about. It's like, okay, you don't want Microsoft to own Activision. Do you want Facebook to own it? I mean, somebody would have acquired it.
Yeah,
right?
They were for sale.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing I can think of is that they don't believe it because they didn't hear about it. It wasn't something that was lingering. Like, oh, did you hear Activision's on sale?
Adam.
What?
Or maybe they didn't get the email.
They didn't get the email. Sure. Telling you, that's what happens when you click that. No, I don't send me shit. You miss out.
A couple of things. First, shout out to Brian. I guess they have British daylight savings times over there.
Oh no, it's just Pokemon Legends.
Okay. And also, I was just talking to somebody on Twitter about that. It's like, listen, we live in the best timeline that Microsoft bought fucking Activision instead of Tencent.
Right?
So
exactly.
you should be very thankful for that.
Happy.
I'm very thankful for that. Go ahead. So again, I don't see Microsoft going, oh, we don't want to appear monopolistic. They're gonna buy what you're gonna buy, bro.
Yeah, they'll buy something else. Mark my words.
I'm pretty sure they're gonna buy another company before the year's over, maybe two.
Everybody's got a price. I mean,
they may not be as huge.
Right.
Everybody's got a price.
Exactly.
I remember corporate moves take months to years to materialize. So it's not like Microsoft can just sit there and go, oh, let's let this FTC investigation slide by. They've been making moves since last year, the year before.
Right. Yeah.
That could materialize this year. We don't know what they're doing. I mean, will it be part of the investigation? Yeah. Do you have anything in process? Sure, they have to reveal it. But it's like that, hey, that's just business, right? Those things take time. There's negotiations. They have to go back and forth. It may pan out. It may not. But you got to keep making moves. You can't just sit still and go, oh, let's wait for this to blow over. That's not how anything works.
Who's breathing like that right now? Go ahead.
Let me see if I get this straight. So basically, I think the consensus is this is kind of clickbait news propagated by PlayStation fanboys. And the irony here is that the console that they're trumpeting would also be under investigation if they had acquired anything that contained that many IPs. So it's nothing. right?
Yeah. No, again, it's just coming off of the optics of it. They bought Bethesda, they bought Activision, like, oh, that's it, monopoly.
It's over.
Well, I mean, that's not honestly a bad thing, though. Like, I'd like to.
We have a question related to that, by the way.
We're talking about a company that just a couple years ago, the whole thing was they've got no games. Now we're talking about like, oh, do they have a monopoly on developers? I mean, you hear that shit and you're going to buy a console. Which are you going to go with? You're like, I mean, I'm generally going to go to the more saturated marketplace, right?
Yeah, Uncle Phil said it. We've got to go all in, and this is it. This is some all in. This is they definitely make.
Yeah, no, they're definitely going in.
He's like, yeah, we got. Uncle Phil's like, yeah, we got exclusive. It's called money, bitch.
Exactly. We got exclusive with a piggy bank. We got Uncle Scrooge over here.
You want us to have games? Fine. We own everything. We own all this.
We own all the games.
And then they probably warned Sony, like, yo, man, them Bungie's motherfuckers, they're going to leave you. They're going to leave you.
Yeah, right. That guy called them up at night and shit. Yo, Sony, man, we heard you dating Bungie, though. Just letting you know. Exactly. And then Activision calls up afterwards. Like, listen, bro.
Sony, get ready. She's going to give it a clap.
Oh shit! Bungie is that girl.
Bungie gonna give you the clap.
Well, yeah, bro. We were talking about. It's like, remember, like Bungie was with Microsoft for 7 years, right? Things didn't work out. They're like, oh, we want to be independent. We want to be free. Then they go to Activision for another 8 years. We want to be independent. We want to be free. One of the questions we got was, how long is this honeymoon going to last? And we said generally 7 or 8 years. Then they're going to go off on their own. Watch, you know.
Everybody knows a girl like Bungie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, yo, don't mess with them. Yo, snatch up all them IPs and then let them go.
Oh, by the way,
you dating Bungie? Ooh.
All right. By the way, real quick,
we got Activision. We got some folks over. You want to talk to them? Hold on. Let's do a 3-way call. Here we go. Beep, beep, beep.
By the way, I want to answer this real quick question from J Shep again. Throw it out. We're here to educate, man. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. You know. He goes. And let me finish the question, by the way, guys. I know halfway through someone's going to jump in and try to just let me finish it. Do you guys think Sony's deal with Bungie was influenced by the FTC investigation? Let me finish. I know the investigation was announced after the Sony announcement, but that doesn't mean Sony didn't know about it. Again, Chris just said this 2 minutes ago. These things were take a long time to happen. Sony did not react to that, just like they didn't react to Microsoft buying Activision. That deal was already in the works, bro.
This was a reaction to Bethesda.
Yeah,
just think of it like you could argue. Like it takes forever to throw a punch.
Yeah,
man.
You could argue that obviously, but obviously Sony didn't go, oh, we got to react to the FTC thing. No, that was already in the works, bro. That was already in the works.
There's a lot of people involved. A lot of people knew about this internally. Those people, they know. Yeah. There's no secrets.
Yeah, I mean, there's also corporate spies too. So like, let's be honest. Like, as soon as these wheels started moving, nobody knew about it. Mm-hmm. So like, yes, these things can they can take a time to manifest, and they can be reactive to other things. I'm not saying that companies move too slow to be reactive to other companies, but like, there's this weird input lag, man, that like you got to make sense of.
Yeah.
So like, it's most likely that Sony heard about them buying Bethesda as soon as the deal went into the works somehow, because corporate spies are a thing. It happens all the fucking time. I mean, Jesus, nobody can keep a secret in this industry. Anyway, so like they hear about that, then they start making their moves and put their wheels into motion. That's about the amount of time we've had to actually see this drama play out. Now it's gonna go out in the next 3 years, man. Like, that's why I'm excited for this generation. I'm like, oh man, here it comes. Get my popcorn. But like this whole fucking melodrama is gonna play out for a few years because these things take so long to do. But I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not responding. Like, they but so like Sony bought Bungie, right? Microsoft's going to buy something else. That's not in response to what Sony's doing, but I'm sure it's going to be with what Sony did in mind. So like, it's not tit for tat. It's not that simple. These are very sophisticated strategies that these guys are trying to employ. They hire really smart people whose job it is just to figure out the analytics of the situation. They don't always hit it, but I mean, generally speaking, it's like NASA. I want to assume that people at NASA know what they're doing. They're pretty smart.
Right.
They have enough money to hire smart people.
Right. All right, man. Moving on. Next question here. Also from Kid Shack. Okay. This is he just wants our thoughts on something.
What up?
Okay. He goes, I think the next studio Sony is going to purchase is MiHoYo, the creators of Genshin Impact. Think about it. They are a wildly successful gacha game with very popular characters and backstories. Sony owns both Funimation and Crunchyroll, which are anime streaming services, and Aniplex, an anime development studio. This looks like another Bungie situation. What do you guys think? I like the way you think, man. It's not the way you put it all together actually makes sense. I'm not going to go that far as to agree with you, but I understand your logic. You know,
no,
I think it's going to be slow clap.
Yeah. It definitely does make sense that they would try to pick them up, but then at the same time, would they even be able to afford them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and at the same time, isn't MiHoYo a Chinese company?
Yeah, I don't. Yes. And I don't know what their laws are over there.
Yeah,
you know?
It is. The thing about Chinese companies is it's not as easy to purchase
because of
because of their laws. In fact, what Sony would have to do is, because every single one of those companies that are like that, they have, in order to get into that market, the Chinese government has to own a portion of your company.
Yeah.
So every single company, it's why places like Blizzard are bending a knee. Activision Blizzard was bending a knee to China because the Chinese government literally owns a portion of that company, and they can't say anything. They are not able to say anything about that.
It's like if the FTC owned every piece of every acquisition that's ever made. You know.
Yeah.
Like in the U.S.
In order to have a presence in China, you have to do one of two things. You either license your technology or your games to a Chinese-specific studio, and if you want a direct thing, is you have to essentially allow the Chinese government to own a portion of your company.
I don't know if I assume a lot of people know the history, but just saying, I don't think China's going to sell a portion of a company or sell a company that they own a portion of to Japan.
To Japan, yeah. We got to keep the history in mind as well, you know? Exactly. By the way, real quick, I didn't know this. I admit I'm ignorant. Brett, when you said slow clap, I thought you were being derogatory. No, it's actually the name of a studio. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, slow clap. They did Absolver, which some of you might have heard. I was a fan of.
Yeah.
They're also doing Sifu, and they're a small studio that's rapidly getting bigger, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. They're just a good fit for PlayStation.
Yeah, but basically, Logic Wins agrees with you. He thinks they'd be a good one for Sony. Again, with Sony, I think you're going to be, even though Bungie is a big studio, I think you're going to be buying more mid-range studios and shit.
No.
Yeah,
I figured this out. Sony is turning into the Mickey Mouse Club, right? They're turning into old Disney, where they just take young studios and kind of groom them and rise them up, whereas Microsoft's just buying them big.
Oh no, hold on, Brett. I got one for you. We're gonna really nail down your analogy here. Sony is like old Disney. Microsoft is like new Disney.
Oh shit! There you go.
There it is, man. There it is.
And Sony is like old Sony.
Everybody famous. You're like, wait, they were on Disney Channel? Like, yeah, man, that's where they got their start. You're like, oh, I didn't know that shit. Whatever.
Yeah, and now it's like, hey, who owns that? Disney owns that. They own that too. Yes, they own everything.
By the way, just wanted to mention, Brett, could you move the boom mic a little bit lower?
Yeah, because I hear, move back a little bit.
I hear the breathing.
You're sounding very Darth Vader-y.
Yeah. By the way, Jay Shep, FTC is American. They can investigate other countries, dealings and stuff.
That would have to be the Federal Trade Commission.
But they're American. They're not. They can't investigate China or something. You know what I mean?
No, but I mean, it would have to. They would have to. Probably the Federal Trade Commission would have to investigate if it was something like an American studio and Chinese. It would have to be something more international. When the FTC usually just does within the country.
Yeah, like each country has their own version of it.
This is more Justice League stuff.
Yeah.
Also, trust me, they're investigating China. The thing is, can they do anything about it? Which is, where a lot of the reasons that bootlegs can happen is because there's a lot of kind of gray area there where the U.S. can't really enforce anything in their copyright laws in China.
There's a lot of issues when it comes to things in China and how things are essentially getting across. Because I mean, you think about it, they're the country that literally manufactures 90% of the things that are created on this planet, or products that are on this planet. So,
well, the things they don't make, they clone. Like I know they have full clones. But at one point, they had a full World of Warcraft clone, didn't they?
Yep. I mean, they've also had full on clones of Nintendo games and illegal versions of Nintendo games, and you can't. It's hard to enforce that within the country unless there's some sort of specific deal that the
Yeah, the FTC is like, stop selling those, and China's like, go fuck yourself.
Well, China's be like, hey, so do you have any sort of do you own anything? Have you copyrighted it in this country? Because as far as we're concerned, this is new.
As far as we know, we own Aladdin.
But one thing though to know is that within Chinese companies, they're trying to. A lot of them are trying to move away from that stigma of the knockoff, and that's where the idea of where a lot of movies that are being created over there, they're trying to trying to be respected for the new things that they create instead of the knockoffs of other things. So
China's moving. They're making some good shit.
Yeah, they're legitimately trying not to rip people off. and the Genshin Impact, the reason nobody knew that it was a Chinese company is because it's specifically looking anime and Japanese because they don't want to receive that stigma for what happens from Chinese products. But then you see shit like Wukong, and you're like, whoa, China, that's nice.
I see you,
China.
Yeah. Okay, so for Genshin Impact, that's not going to happen because it's a Chinese studio. So
it's a Chinese studio.
Yeah,
they're not going to sell it, and Sony would have to essentially have China own some of their company.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the sales of like Xbox, PlayStation are like in China. Out of curiosity.
Funny thing is that you got to understand that consoles are somewhat of a new concept in China. Most of their games were actually PC until fairly recently.
Yeah, consoles aren't really a thing over there like they are over here.
Yeah, that's why things like Genshin Impact can work out so well over there because it's mainly a PC title.
Yeah, well, Jay Shep, he goes, I'm asking too many questions. This is Throw on Your Questions, man. This is what we do.
You throwing down some questions?
Yeah, I'm answering a bunch of his stuff because he just wants to know can America investigate other things? No, what's up?
If you're in the chat and asking questions, those don't count as your 3 questions if we decide to answer them.
Yeah.
That's one of the bonuses of being here in the chat.
Exactly. Hey, there you go.
Hey,
plug. So if you want us to answer additional questions, be in the chat on Twitch. By the way, Bob Hits was, how would we feel if Microsoft bought Twitch? We already saw that story. Remember when they bought Mixer? Saw how that ended.
And where is Mixer right now?
And by the way, it's almost impossible.
Yeah, it's like
Amazon owns Twitch.
Yep. So there you go. All right, man. Moving on. Next question here. Sponsored question.
Whoa.
Sponsored question for Mr. Romudeth. Very generous fella. All right. Answering Mob Hits. Answering his Bebop Boru bonus question.
Uh-oh.
All right. Google is shopping their Stadia technology around. Would this be something Sony should consider either buying or investing to counter Game Pass xCloud? Sony already has their own thing, man.
Yeah, they already have it.
It's the back end tech. It's the Azure type of stuff that they were really going with.
Yeah, so they already have PS Now, and what was PS Now originally? What was the name of the company?
Gaikai.
There was Gaikai, so they already have that. They have the Azure, so yeah, Sony already has it. They don't need. As a matter of fact, Sony would do well to steer clear of anything related to Stadia, because Mr. Grim Reaper is still involved with Stadia. Mr. Phil Harrison, anything that man touches turns to dust. So. No, everybody should stay clear of that function.
The cursed one, Phil Harris.
Yeah, Phil Harrison. No. That guy's the Grim Reaper.
Everything he touches turns to shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stadia falls in my blind spot of understanding technology. Like I'm strictly a hardware guy, and this makes what is the fundamental technology that is for sale here? Is it useful for anything? Is it anything that big companies don't have?
What I understand, it's also the whole streaming aspect, the quality.
Well, I know it's streaming, but like we all know it's streaming. So like, what's the technical difference between what they're offering and what everybody else has?
There isn't, you know, there isn't.
Well, no, it's like they're sort of trying to sell old technology that's already been used.
No, I think they're combining their streaming technology with AI stuff. So there is kind of like what would you call it? Some kind of input, predictive input stuff.
Predictive AI, yeah, they have. Yeah. In fact, as I remember, Microsoft also has something very similar to that running.
Yeah, they're both doing it, but Google's is kind of putting their version, their Stadia version, up against Microsoft's version, right?
Yeah,
and GeForce Now and Luna, you know,
they're all doing it.
These things exist. That's why I just said no. They're not doing anything different than anybody else. By the way, his question was more about like a TV app. Sony could easily put a TV app on their own out there. They don't need Google or anybody else to do that for them.
Yeah, I mean,
they had their own.
They had it. They had one. Yeah. They had their own. They already did this already. Sony has already had this stuff going on, you know.
The hilarious thing is, again, it's the usual Sony toe dip that, you know, they're saying they're doing. It sounds amazing, but they never put any sort of significant power behind it. It's like, we have it and we're doing it, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Or they totally forget about it.
I literally just imagine they put their toe in it. Ooh, that's cold.
Oh no! Don't do that. It burns your toe off.
You know,
it might be a good acquisition for like a hardware company to kind of act as like middleware tech to accommodate future streaming, like Sony, or not Sony, like Samsung. Samsung could use them to kind of prime their TVs to be able to stream and seamlessly plug into other streaming services without the need of a console, kind of thing.
That's already what's happening.
That's already what's happening. And the thing is, like, it doesn't really, correct me if I'm wrong here, because the way I see it, I'm like, okay, you have, like, for example, the Xbox app on your TV, right? All you need is just a Bluetooth connection for a phone. You're good to go, right? Like, it doesn't, like, you don't need hardware for it.
If you took the predictive AI tech and kind of incorporated it as middleware with the TV, like, to help reduce input lag, like, you could say, like, you game best on a Samsung TV kind of shit. Like, but again, it's kind of.
But isn't that still software though?
No, there's such a thing as middleware.
Yeah.
I didn't know this for the longest time, but there actually is, and it's the thing that, surprisingly enough, integrates your hardware and software.
With the NVIDIA Shield.
Because I'm just saying, like, you don't really need a console or even like a stick or anything, for this. Correct me if I'm wrong here. That's just the way
it's different. Like, yes, like, you can, anything you hook up to the internet can then stream through the internet. That's correct.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is, like, if your TV uses the predictive AI tech to reduce input lag, so that your TV streams that better than another TV.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so that's the middleware. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but they would have it would be an interesting middleware solution, but that would be also something you'd have to talk about to Microsoft itself.
Yeah.
Right.
we have to have a partnership like Microsoft and Samsung,
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they
or LG, Carlos,
Yeah, they need to go blue ocean, man. We just talked about how everybody is doing this. So, like, maybe partner with hardware tech companies and then use that to partner with your previous competitors to kind of enable their services to work better.
Yeah.
That puts them in a tough spot, though, because they're obligated to say the best experience for xCloud and Xbox is on an Xbox, right? Or on a PC, on a Windows PC, right? So it's tough to then you say, oh, the best place to play Xbox is an LG.
No, the best TV to play on. The best TV to play on.
Oh, the best TV to play on.
Yeah, you're always gonna have like and I think the
console you're right. The best TV,
your updated experience, right? But like to have that entry level tier imbued in your natively in your electronics, I think that's where we're going. We're gonna have Xbox Basic now on your TV streaming because the thing doesn't have any fucking hardware that's actually.
I'm telling you, motherfuckers, this is exactly what's gonna happen. And
then we're gonna have the low end system, like, oh man, this is a dedicated gaming system, but it's not the best. It's at a fair price, still an additional $300, but it's a dedicated thing that runs your games. outside of your other your home network. And then you have the big one, that the Series X PlayStation Pro kind of thing, where this is the gamiest game console to date. This thing runs everything on SSD tech. It downloads everything. It's lightning fast. It is the best way to play, but you can still play on just your TV.
Yeah, that'll happen.
By the way, just real quick. Going back to the question, I think Dying Light 2 is like probably the best example of this. They're doing their whole cloud thing. They can reach out to someone like Google and be like, hey, we want to port this game out to the Switch, but obviously the Switch is running on fucking old ass hardware on fairy dust. Yeah. And it's like, can we leverage your services to play this on the Switch? And they could probably provide that kind of service. And I think that's more of the type, because they're obviously not going to reach out to, hey, Microsoft, do you guys want to put Halo on our service? Bro. Obviously, Microsoft has their own stuff, and a lot of other companies do as well. But
to an extent, it's not actually Google that's doing this, but it is a company that has essentially done all these digital ports. That's currently doing that for Nintendo, and right now that would be an interesting space for Google to excel in, because as of now, the service that they're using is a smaller company, and it's not a good experience at all. Guardians of the Galaxy uses the same sort of streaming tech, a bunch of them all coming through this one company, and they're all lousy experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Next question here. Assyrian Air Force, who just showed up in the chat right now, man.
Yo, you must have knew you were coming up, son.
Yeah, right. He knew, man. He knew. All right.
Bonus questions.
So, Adam, you kind of brought this up earlier. What Sony franchise can Bungie potentially help with or revive? Again, and we said this on the Thursday show too. And Adam, I want your thoughts on this. I don't think Sony's even going to bother asking them. They're like, listen, you work on Destiny, you work on live service games. That's it. But obviously, they will, as Brett said, put some of these companies in a boot camp. Like, hey, this is how you do these games. Bungie, show them the way. But I don't think this was meant to revive old IPs at all.
Yeah, if it was the case, they would have done it already.
Yeah,
this is a golden goose.
The only thing I could think of is that maybe if Activision had some other ideas of spin-offs, within that world of Destiny, maybe
that could happen for sure.
Ideas that they had, and they needed a little more, grease in the wheels. So they were like, oh.
Yeah, but just to make this point, then you could go off. Basically, because I see a lot of chatter on Twitter going, Sony's gonna help with this, that. I was like, where are you getting this from? How are you making this assumption?
No more kills on no
and Sony, they haven't shown us that they want to revive some of these old franchises. So I don't understand where this is coming from. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. But again, we're not about that life here, so we have to just take things as we see them. It's not like Microsoft specifically said we want to revive old Activision IPs. They specifically said that, right? So we could have that conversation. But in this instance, that was never said at all. Anyway, Brett, go on. Brett, finish, and then you go, Manny.
I was gonna say this is their evergreen time, man. This is their golden goose. Think about it just like a gamer, and this is the resource that you buy. That's not going to necessarily unlock any cool new stuff, but it's going to provide passive income, so you can go and do other cool shit over here, right? That's what this is. It's just passive income, and that's good because then they can branch out a little bit without worrying about their sales. It's a cushion for them. You'll see them express their ideas in different ways. They may even give Bungie full rights and more money and whatnot just to have them publish this thing to get more evergreen titles. But Bungie is going to be a company that basically delivers on returns, and I think that's all it's going to be. To try and exploit it and turn it into something else would be just a poor move. You already have the thing that is just constantly producing revenue, constantly producing resources. Why would you try and augment that?
Yeah. Again, the only thing they said they want from Bungie is to help them put out more live service games and help out in that whole, basically spearhead that thing.
We want to copy your technology and take your money.
I don't know about all that, but it's like, hey, help us with it.
That's exactly what it is. Like they're like, we want.
It's more like we want to use your expertise. That's what they said. They want to use their expertise.
It's
all there.
Yeah, no, it's not the expertise, and it's a little bit for everything. I don't think you're gonna have a million games. Like I don't think every live service game is gonna use the Destiny engine, for example.
No. They want to peek under the hood, see how it's made, and then use that to build their own thing.
Yeah. Well,
sure. They did that with fucking From Software with the original games, man.
Yeah, no, I just again, you know me, Brett. I'm very stickler when it comes to words. So I was like, hold on, technology. You mean every game's gonna run on DS? That's how I heard it. You're like, that's
This is like when they part with From. They made Bloodborne. They're like, hey, let us use your underlying tech.
But it was From Software that did it. It wasn't Sony that made that game. From Software made that game. They made it themselves. They used their own technology to make their own game. Sony didn't take their technology to make the game. Understand?
Yeah, well, I think we're saying the same thing, man. They're just that I'm saying it in I guess a weird way. They're going to copy the hell out of whatever live services they're using. I mean, you can't look at tech and be like, oh, I'm going to be inspired by this tech, but I'm not going to copy it. It's the same fucking thing.
Well, it's more than tech, Brett, and that's where I agree with Tony on this one. The expertise is the industry has learned a lot from things like Anthem, right?
Yes.
So you don't want to repeat that. And what was BioWare's mistake is they only looked internally and started expanding into other BioWare studios that didn't have experience making a live service game to make a live service game, and they started calling all hands instead of looking outward, right, and getting proper expertise. And then what did you end up? You ended up with that, right? Same thing with Avengers. Square was just petitions like they're completely out of their wheelhouse. Like we want, Disney asked them for a live service game. They gave it to them, just completely crashed out. You don't want that, right? Everybody can see that. And the industry talk too, and they're like, no, we don't want that. We need somebody who can handle this shit. Somebody with a proven track record, which means you not only need the tech, you need the understanding of the market and players.
Hence the $1 billion to keep the employees, you know?
Right, yeah. And you need to know how to partition loot. How bad is the grind? How you need people who understand that. It's like, no, you can't make it too grind. You can't do this, can't do that. Don't copy mobile. Don't, and those are the mistakes other people made. You can't make those mistakes again. That's why they need the expertise.
Well, Chris, let me ask you, do you consider that kind of knowledge an asset, or do you consider it kind of a personnel? Like, I guess what I'm saying is, when you hire the coach, are you also getting his playbook? Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wrote the playbook.
And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm agreeing with you completely. I am. I think I just see it as all that stuff that can be boiled down to, basically a playbook. And yeah, when you hire this person, you look at their playbook, you're copying it. There's no way around it. You still have them there to lean on. I'm not debating that at all. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you kind of buy all that past experience that they have, and that's something that you're going to retain, even if Bungie left. If Bungie left in 3 years, Sony would still be the better for it. You'd still see an improvement in their games from it.
All right, that's right. Okay, we all agree on that. Let's push the conversation forward.
Was that the same type of deal that Activision had then?
Well, with Activision, it's more like you're getting all these different game studios and different. You know what I'm saying?
No. I mean, what they got from Bungie, because they owned them. So did they see the playbook?
They did, but then they threw it out.
Yeah, right. No, but Activision already had its successful multiplayer games or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think they'd used any of that for Call of Duty.
No, they didn't. Again, one of the big reasons Sony bought Bungie is to help them fill that gaping hole, which is their multiplayer section. They have nothing. Listen, I don't care how much you enjoy fucking what's it, Last of Us, Uncharted, Ghost of Tsushima. Those are just little side things. They do not have a proper multiplayer game at all.
Sony's multiplayer sucks. I'm just gonna say it.
They don't have it. I understand they have their fans or whatever for those games, but no, those ain't it, So I think this is why I believe the $3 billion they paid was actually justified, especially in like you said, the long term. They're looking at it that way, if they get even if one of those games hits, right? I'm talking about outside of Destiny, they're good to go. If they get one Fortnite out of those fucking 10 games, They're good. Well, you know.
They need to change their image, man. Like if you think about a Sony first-party game, all right, you already got an idea in your head, and now I'm gonna say multiplayer. And how disappointed are you?
Well, I mean, because I don't care, but I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying, you know.
You're just like, yeah, fucking.
No. Actually, no,
God
Brett.
of War's gonna have multiplayer. You're like, oh god.
No, Brett.
Not a good sound.
Yeah, no. You're not gonna think that. You're gonna be like Sony multiplayer, like, huh? Like it's that's right. Is that you're gonna be you're gonna be confused? Like
no,
Sony
I'm gonna be
multiplayer?
immediately disappointed. Like you tell me God of War, fuck yeah, multiplayer. Ooh. Oh, that's not gonna be good.
Oh, that was terrible. Yeah. Ascension was that was bad. That was very bad. And then of course Destruction All Stars. You know, saw how that went.
Like it's like the times that I have. Like I'll be honest. Like The Last of Us multiplayer. I know a lot of you like it. It is fucking awful.
Yeah, it's not good.
It is just
no.
And like I love Ghost of Tsushima, but like man, that multiplayer is. I mean, you better really like the people that you're playing with.
To be fair, that multiplayer was fun, but you're right. You need a good squad of people. But again, that thing doesn't last long, right? We played it for a night. We're like, I think we're good. Like that's all we needed, you know. They
added more. That was only half of the multiplayer.
Yeah, no, but I generally speaking, we kind of had enough after one night.
Yeah,
like,
no, I don't care to see the other half because it was.
Yeah, and the Uncharted. We're not going to talk about the Uncharted multiplayer.
But that's all I'm saying. It's not a thing where you think like, oh god, PlayStation first party games are awful. But when you hear PlayStation first party games, like at least for me. I immediately get a little bit of a sinking feeling as soon as you mention like, yeah, multiplayer. I'm like, oh, that's not gonna be great. I'm almost mad that they devoted resources from the main game to this.
Yeah. All right, man. Moving on here. So yeah, we're not gonna kind of dignify. We're not dignified. We're not really gonna entertain that whole what IP will they help. They're not gonna do that. That's not what they're here for. You know. All right. Logic wins. I'm glad you like the Uncharted 3 multiplayer, but just like Uncharted 2 multiplayer and Uncharted 4 multiplayer, boring.
It just seems like such a small space. It's like fucking Epcot at Disney World. Like, yeah, it can be fun, but it's like, do you want to?
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why is Nathan Drake running around shooting at Sully? Like, this doesn't make any narrative sense. You know.
To me, the people that really like it are kind of the people that really like cult movies, right? Like I'll watch Dead Rising 3 a million or not Jesus Christ, I had this.
There was a Dead Rising movie though that did happen.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. Was it Uwe Boll?
I'm at Army of Darkness. I'm at Army of Darkness. I have zombies on the wall.
All right.
I'll watch Army of Darkness 3 a million times. But is it as expansive as a long form TV show? No. I'm just gonna sit in this little corner here and play and enjoy myself. And I kind of feel like that's how multiplayer in first person is. You know, it's like, oh, it's a little side thing. It doesn't feel big or integrated into the main experience. It's like the redheaded stepchild over there.
Do you think that it's a lot of times a lot of the fanfare comes for because there's nothing better?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Ecosystem,
you know what I mean? Like, because there is nothing better at that point in time. Like, could you? Like, if you were to directly compare the Uncharted multiplayer or any of the other multiplayer experiences that have appeared on PlayStation games, could you legitimately say that they would hold up against something like any of the big dogs? We're talking about the Halos, we're talking about the Call of Duties, we're talking about those guys that really have essentially created a multiplayer that is almost close to perfect. I don't think so. Yeah. I think it's just like it's there, and people are like, "Oh well, this is better than I." It's like watching. It's like it's there. It's not bad. It's better than you expected, but it's nothing compared to what exists already on the market.
Okay, not to derail the show.
I like bacon, but it's not a whole meal.
Yeah, not to derail the show. But Brett, you got a really random question in here right now.
Oh, what's up?
Kishai goes, "Do you like The Room?" That's random.
I fucking love The Room.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau. I think I may be a genius. If you really think about it, Johnny Wiseau is crazy.
You see the references in the weirdest fucking places. Oh.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not know. Hi, Mark. That movie's great.
How's your sex life?
Hello, Mark. How's your sex life?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, we also like The Room because the movie's fucking bananas. You know? Oh man.
So much money on that movie.
I mean, you got to give it to him. You know, he did make what he wanted to make.
Yeah, he did.
Did you see the fucking the movie about the making of The Room? Yeah.
No, I need to see that.
Oh god, it's so great. It shows you some of the weird shit that happened during filming. Like he built a set of the alley right next to the alley, and nobody knows like why did you build a set? He's like, I spent $100,000 on this set. Like, but we could have just filmed right there.
It's hilarious. This guy's a genius, man. All right, let's moving on. Now back to the actual gaming questions here. Oh no, did I not set things up? Oh yeah, I did. Hold on, give me a sec. I'm getting distracted. I got distracted by Johnny Wiseau, man.
Tommy
Wiseau. My bad. All right, here we go. Also, Syrian Air Force. Are Microsoft? This one's all right. Let's just finish this one. Are Microsoft and Sony working together to not let publishers or studios get bought by the likes of Amazon, Google, or Apple?
Yes, and they're using lizard people as a middleman.
I mean, to be honest, like if you think about it, any of those companies buying any studios, it literally nothing comes from it.
Nothing, yeah.
I mean, you look at Amazon; they literally bought the company that made the Killer Instinct game to make their stupid multiplayer bullshit game. And what happened?
Oh yeah,
nothing.
Yeah. Oh
nothing.
God, yeah.
Whole lot
nothing. Of they own these they bought these companies, and they're literally what's gonna happen to them is they're just gonna languish and die. I mean, you know, okay, you know, maybe Facebook still has that niche market of virtual reality because I mean they did buy Ready at Dawn, and they have they bought Ready at Dawn, which was the guys that made the God of War games for the PSP and the Order 1886. But still, I mean that's like their biggest company that they own. But yeah, but do you really hear anything about what they're doing? I don't know. I don't think you do. You
can't be owned by somebody out of the industry. Like and I'm sure you guys will have something very similar. But as some of you know, I'm a tattoo artist. So if you ever try and go to a tattoo shop that was not owned or is not owned by somebody who is a tattoo artist, everything's going to be wrong. Just every little bit is going to be just not fucking correct. And the thing I've learned is, if you're not raised in an industry, the things that seem really common to the people in there are totally foreign to you. So anytime somebody that's not a video game company buys a video game studio, it just seems to end fucking tragically.
I think the biggest issue with a lot of these companies, whenever they invest in these video game studios, is they don't understand the clockwork of the video game industry. And they don't hire people from the video game industry to oversee these things. Granted, Phil Harrison was one of those people that was supposed to look over the industry, but I also feel like they didn't look at the man's track record in his previous iterations.
I mean, man, can you imagine being hired by somebody who's never made a comic book before?
Oh, I've had that plenty of times.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who've never worked in comics that work in comics, I
mean, to be honest, there is the thing about it is that if they trust you, there's two parts of it. It's like if they trust you as a creator and they understand that you know about more about this industry than they do, you sort of teach them how to interact and how to work within the industry. I've had situations like that. But when I'm an individual, but I think when it comes to companies like that, they usually, if they're going to, dip their toe into the universe of a specific product, the best thing to do is to hire a bunch of people who are in the industry who already know how to do these things.
To not practice nepotism.
Yes, but a lot of times, but then what happens a lot of times is that it comes to a point where they start to stick their nose into into shit that they shouldn't be sticking their nose into. Aviarid.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, Aviarid is at a distance. Being the guy that gives the money to these projects is a great thing, but when he starts to interject his ideas on top of things,
the Hall of Armor.
that's when you get the Hall of Armor. That's when you get Spider-Man 3.
Oh,
you know,
that's when
you get. That's right.
That's when you get some of the other films that came out in his later in his career, because he started to stick his nose into things because they were spending so much money in it. Now he felt that he could, being that he's the guy giving out the money, that he can say he has more say as to what's going to go on the screen.
I'm also concerned with what sells. To me, it sounds like somebody's coming to you and be like, "Hey, Manny, make me a comic book. I need it to make a lot of money."
Yeah, and that is not even set in stone. Like sometimes you have to, like a lot of people have to understand that even just making the investment into something like that isn't a guaranteed million. Here's the thing, like to use Microsoft as an example. Yes, they did pay all this money to snatch up all these studios, but will these studios produce anything of worth?
Yeah, exactly.
In the long run. We still haven't seen anything from them. I mean, the closest thing release we've seen was Psychonauts, but that's already something that's already existed and it's on PlayStation 4, so we can't really count that. We have to count what comes out after when they started doing this. I don't even think Hellblade is one of those things either.
That's a good point, because like obviously Microsoft has a lot of game studios right now, but you could still say they have no games because those games haven't come out yet.
Even Starfield
just a large back catalog. That's what they have.
Yeah.
They have
Starfield was in the works before they purchased Bethesda.
Yeah. So they've inherited a bunch of they've inherited quite a bit of really interesting projects, but again, will these things even hit it? And then there is still the potential of Starfield just crashing and burning. I wouldn't hope for that, but none of this stuff is set.
That's the groundhog that sees its shadow, man. Like Starfield is the perfect amount of time that it was developed before they were acquired, but Microsoft should see to their fucking quality. Like I'm really interested to see how this comes out because it has Microsoft's name on it. So either they went do your own thing, and it's going to be still buggy as hell because it's a Bethesda game, or maybe it's going to be better because we got some Microsoft money and some supervision. I think that one's going to be the very first game that's telling.
Yeah, so who knows? But it's always there's always that battle. Like the thing about it, like there's we always talk about the old way Sony used to run their studios, where essentially they leave the creative parts to the creative people. Essentially, how they ran their music industry. It's like they flip the bill, and then the whoever is making the music makes the music. They don't interject and say, "Hey, no, this is what you should do with that music." They're like, the art. We're giving you the money, and we're gonna keep put some stuff into it. Put money into it, and then and whatever comes out comes out. And that's a hard thing to do, especially when you're spending millions of dollars on a studio or a game company or something like that.
Would you say that's kind of the difference?
Investing in potential.
Would you say that's kind of the difference between Microsoft and Sony? Because I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know what we don't know what new Microsoft is like these days. But from what rumblings that I hear within the industry, they're very open to a lot of different things. To things going on. Within the companies that they've hired. So I definitely think that there's because of the regime change that they had there and the new outlook that they have on these things, they're a lot more open to the ideas of the studios and sort of letting the studios do what they need to do. But we'll see.
Yep. All right, let's move on.
Maybe it won't be the Borg anymore.
All right, moving on here. All right. Oh, this is a new name.
Uh-oh.
I like the way they spell this. Atari 2600. I like that.
Atari.
Yeah, Atari 2600.
Welcome.
All right, so welcome. All right, will Microsoft continue buying third-party day one exclusives for Game Pass in the future with such a huge first-party stable? It's a good question. I think they will, obviously. It's a
two-way street from that, though.
Yeah, they will, obviously, but I understand why he's asking the question. Like you said, they have a lot of studios ready,
But it's a two-way that some of them actually get approached.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not always one way.
Yeah, we've heard developers talk about that it's worked wonders for their game that's been sitting in limbo land of just so many other games. And then they're like, we got a new one coming. We want eyes on it. They'll reach out. Can you put it on your service? Well,
yeah.
Let's see what
happens. And again, this kind of go ahead, Manny.
I worked for a studio that it actually worked out very well for. For those of you who don't know, I did the key art for the game Swim Sanity that came out last year, and that making that deal with Microsoft to have that exclusivity and premiere their game on there actually ended up working out quite well for them.
And it was the company that reached out to Microsoft, right?
No, that was actually Microsoft that reached out to them.
Yeah, okay, but
they had to have known about it though. That's what.
The game had been in development for quite a while. It was a 2-man team at the time.
Nice.
So they saw them at different places and and all this stuff, and they got a funding through another company. So it's like they knew that they had been around for a while, so they made that investment in them and said, we want to be a part of this thing. So when Insanity came out, it premiered on Xbox Game Pass.
I mean, it makes sense. You see, like, I think the closest analogous thing would be TV and movies. Video games right now are like movies, and yeah, you're gonna have big movie stars and big hits, but you get something like TV where once you pay for the service, it's essentially free content. You get a lot of TV stars and you get a lot of TV shows that are hits, and you see them bleed over. Like,
well, it's kind of like
I see the system already working in other ways.
It allows people to play a game that they would probably not normally play. Would you? I'm not going to say that our game wasn't worth it. I mean, it was a worth it game, but at the same time, I think that people who weren't totally looking in that direction would be like, hey, I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm already paying to keep the lights on. Might as well play what's already here, right? And I think that's we've seen that happen even with the game with the that's like the Japanese game show, whatever the hell that game is. I can't remember. What was that?
Well, I think
it's not called Wipeout, but whatever it is, the one
it's
where
called Wipeout now.
Yeah, it's called whatever.
Is that Wipeout a skateboarding game or something like a snowboarding game?
It was a car game.
It was it's
that
Fall Guys.
It was the most extreme.
Fall Guys. There we go. Thank you, Brian. Fall Guys. You saw like what happened with Fall Guys, a game that people would not normally invest in, right? But having it on there for a month, as a premiere, as a free game on PlayStation, ended up working out really well. Same thing that happened with Rocket League. So this is that same sort of idea, but with a lot of companies premiering their games on there. So I think definitely Microsoft will do that sort of thing to get that next hit that next thing.
I don't want you straying outside of their ecosystem. But I want to say real quick, like to support Manny's point, how many times have you looked at a movie and went, "Nah, I'll wait till it comes on TV."
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll still watch it. You just don't necessarily want to pay for the experience. Like, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
No, I mean, just to add to your point, Brett, that's exactly how I feel about Sifu. I'm like, I would want to play just to see because there's a lot of controversy going on right now with the game's difficulty. I'm like, I want to see how hard this is, but I'm not curious enough to pay for it. So I said I will get it on Game Pass or PlayStation Network. But thankfully, somebody hooked me up with a code, so I'll be playing it. I'll check it out.
You're gonna be Sifu.
You let me know if you get another one.
I'll let you know. Yeah, but I'm like, wait, code? And I'm like, and I don't have to review it. Fantastic. That also means I don't have to play it right away. But yeah, because I saw a lot of the reviews came out today. People were saying this game's fucking the greatest thing ever. Some people were saying it's too difficult. I don't like it. So I'm like, this is interesting.
Okay.
We basically got the our game's too difficult discourse 3 weeks before Elden Ring came out, which I thought that was going to kick it off.
I need to go on a tangent for just a second.
Uh-oh.
I mean, so get your thing out, but I have some shit to say about this.
Dang.
I mean, yeah, let's go on a tangent. I mean, do we need to? Are we? Yeah, we're done with that segment. Go ahead. Go on your rant.
Okay. I am fucking sick of video game reviewers not knowing how to play video games.
Uh-oh.
Can I say something really quickly?
Yeah.
It'd be really good. Take a shot every time Brett says Dark Souls. Go.
Actually, it's not even about that. It's not even about Sifu. This shit's about Dying Light, right? Like the reviews came out, and I was just curious, so I was reading a lot of the reviews, and they were all over the goddamn place. And I went and I played the game. I'm several hours in right now, and I have to say, some of the shit I read in reviews was the dumbest fucking shit that I have ever. People talking about things that were absent in the game that you earned 2 hours in. People talking about game mechanics that are adjusted by other game mechanics as soon as you get out of the fucking tutorial. Right? And somebody talking about like, oh, well, the combat is just the most bland spam X, run to the zombie and spam X. I'm like, dude, there's a dodge. There are core mechanics where you leap off things' heads. There's special moves, attacks, fucking windmills. You played this game for 5 minutes and go, oh, I just jam X to hit zombies. Bad game.
One of the first moves you get is where you jump onto one person's shoulder and then you drop kick from there. It's like they got these crazy parkour moves.
Yeah, you can't kick people off buildings anymore. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
It's in the fucking skills menu, dumbass.
That's straight up bullshit. Yeah, you can do that right away.
So I've seen so many reviews fucking outing themselves by talking about things that are just not fucking true in the game. And these ones are also talking about, there's a mild discussion of difficulty going on there too. I don't know what's going on with that in the whole community, but it really goes to showcase that, like, yes, the game can be either more difficult or ruined by you not fucking knowing how to play. And as I'm playing games and they're being dumbed down and some of the difficulty comes in, I want to fucking see if you don't like my games, go somewhere else. Don't change them for your sad ass just because you can't play
I think there's an option at the beginning. It's story mode, which is pretty much easy. I think you can just switch to that if they're having that much problems with it.
Here's something I noticed about story mode. It's actually easier than easy. It's like
that's why they don't call it easy. They just like story.
No, because I have seen games where it literally the difficulties are story, easy, normal, hard, very hard. So story is actually below that.
But they don't need to adjust the mechanics or adjust the difficulty. The person needs to actually read the goddamn menus and learn how to play the game. If you're saying that there aren't any combat moves and there's a whole menu of combat moves, I'm calling bullshit on your review. And if that shit is happening, I know it's happening in Dying Light. I've been seeing this shit all over the place. So I know for a fact, therefore, it has to be happening in Sifu. And I can only kind of extrapolate that, hey, if maybe you play the game for a while and get good at it, it's not too difficult.
Did you say the word of curse? Get good.
Yeah.
Get good.
Yeah. To be fair though,
playing horror movies are too scary.
Yeah. To be fair though, Richard Bailey Jr., who has been playing the game and who is a very accomplished gamer, he said the game is indeed very difficult. That you need to be on top of your game. The game doesn't let you slouch. You need to be on it.
Did he say it was unenjoyably difficult?
No, he didn't say that. He said he's still enjoying himself, even though he's getting his ass kicked the whole time. That's what he said. He's like, listen, this game's too hard. Yeah, he said the game's too hard for him, but he enjoys it. He still enjoys it.
Like Dark Souls. There you go. Sometimes you need to put a little time in to be able to beat it and play it. That's kind of part of the replayability, man. We don't need to just burn through content, because we got to the point where we all run through video games in speed mode anyway. You don't even pay attention to the hallways you're running down or the art direction that people lovingly put in.
Yeah.
I take old school time to. I take a year to finish off my games now.
Dude, I just wander around and look at oh man, look at the level design in here. I see what they did there. That's pretty cool. That zombie, look at the cracks in his face. Like, yeah, man, I love that shit. But I know a lot of people just bolt to the next yellow arrow that you go to or whatever.
Yeah. By the way, on that kind of Discord. Damn it! I lost my train of thought. Never mind. I think we went off on a tangent enough already. Damn it! What the hell was I going to say? I was going to make a good point about something you guys were talking about. Shit.
I really doubt it. You really make good points. Anyways, let's.
Whoa! This is going to really bug me now. All right, I'll get back to it. All right. Wait, Carlos, what you said complete went over my head right now because I'm so busy thinking about it. Manny, what are you talking about, man? Manny got the platinum in Death Stranding already, baby.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said that you're still perfecting. He perfected it 2 years ago.
I did that 2 years ago.
You gotta understand something about Manny. Manny may not play as many games as you guys, but every game he plays, he platinums.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
like
I call it playing for keeps. I do one and done playthroughs. I played through the game. Doesn't matter to how long. I'll continue to play it until I got everything that I got out of it. It's an old school way of playing games. Back in the day when your mama used to say, "This is the only game that I'm gonna get you. You better play this shit and not beat it."
Yeah.
Dude,
play this shit until you get everything you can out of this.
I gotta say that before I forget. Right? You know, and this goes back to my thing. You got to read the review. You got to read the whole review, right? Because I read some Sifu reviews, positive ones, mind you. I'm like, yeah, this is not a game for me. I was like, you know, as soon as I said you need to dedicate a lot to learn these moves, I'm like, yeah, nope, I'm good. I'm okay. I don't need to play this shit. You know, so that's why I'm like, because somebody said like, oh, but the game's getting rave reviews. It must be good. I'm like, I read some rave reviews of it, and I'm like, it clearly told me that this game was not for me. You know, and goes back to your point, Brett. It's like, yeah, not every game's for you, man. If it's too hard, it's okay. The game is not fundamentally wrong. It's just not for you, and that's it. You know,
we have different genres, man.
That's what they exist for.
You see a comedy movie, right? If you want to be scared, you see a horror movie, and then don't complain about being scared.
Yeah.
Like that Ghost of Tsushima. People are like, oh, you're going to love it. You like all those Assassin's Creed open. I tried it. I didn't get into it.
That's not it's not your thing, man. Drunken Guardian goes, Tony, is it because you review games so you have no time to invest? That is a portion of it. Like, Brett, going back to what you said, I would love to be like, let me stop and actually admire this. I can't do that. I have to. But the thing is, I already am naturally like that, but now reviewing games makes me worse with that, if you know what I mean, you know? I just try to play as efficiently as possible. So I do sympathize a little bit if you may not understand every mechanic because you don't have time to read the tutorials. You got to rush through it. But at the same time, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because if you don't know basic mechanic, you're not going to be able to get through the game to do your review, you know? But yeah, because I was thinking about that when I finished a certain game I can't speak of right now. And I was like, you know, if I play this my way, it would probably take me longer, but I would still play it, probably still beat it faster than a normal person. Manny, remember what you said? Like, Tony, you should start writing about games because you play. This was was it 10 years ago? I just beat games fast and naturally, but now I beat them like even faster. You know,
he used to beat like. I mean, then again, it's like me. I play slow, and I play even slower now.
Yeah.
But back then, he's like lightning quick, and then I'm like, man, I haven't even gotten to that area yet.
Yeah. Kishak goes, turn off your idle mind that you can't do that. I was playing Tales of Rise. I was not reviewing Tales of Rise. I was just playing purely for fun, and I had to remind myself, Tony, stop taking notes. Like I was taking mental notes the entire game. I'm like, stop. You can't. It's hard to turn that off. You know.
It also depends how much time you get. If they say someone sends a game and I have like 2-3 weeks, then I can play it the way I usually play.
Absolutely.
But if I get a few days, or like even with this Dying Light, they sent it to me, like 2 days before. It's like shit. It's like then I'm running through and it's frustrating because there's a lot of other shit I want to see, but then I want to still have other things. And then at the time there was some features that weren't working and the co-op thing, but now that works. I'm going to be playing with Brett soon, and I'll be able to experience that. And
when you get a game that's that close, that's when I do the buffet table. Like, listen, I'm just going to try it. Every little thing that's in there, throw it in the review, and then that's it because you guys didn't give me enough time. But Horizon, that's not a secret. I got the game for you. I was like, thank you for giving me that spot. I didn't have to really rush through it. I got to play it at my own pace, you know, which is still pretty fast, you know.
Here's the difference. Like you may play a game, but you're not going to complain about things that are actually in the game.
No, of course not. You know,
you're not gonna be like, oh, there's no quick reload feature, and I feel like that's a huge problem. I'm deducting points for that. This game should totally have that, and it does have that. Like that's just being a bad journalist.
Yeah, no, I agree. And listen, the way I review games is very simple, right? I go, what is this game trying to accomplish, and does it do it well? That's it. That's it. So basically, even if I don't like a certain mechanic, like did it do that mechanic right? It did. Okay, so I won't deduct any points. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a fair way of assessing a game.
And that's why you're like the old version of like people like you are gonna fade away as time passes. I hate to say, Tony, because you're being replaced by people who go in, play 10 minutes, they're like, I hate it. Clickbait article, done.
Unfortunately, yeah. Think about it like this, right? I didn't review Returnal because I could not finish the game. Just being honest, I just did impressions of it over the first 20 hours. And even though I personally don't like Returnal, it was a very positive preview. You know why? Because it accomplished everything it set out to do. You know, but you're right. That's kind of fading into game journalism, which is kind of bad.
Integrity is no longer necessary, unfortunately, my friend.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right.
I played Returnal with Tony, and as somebody who loves Returnal, and he doesn't necessarily, I have to say, Tony dug into it. He got it. He understood. I played with him. He
Wait, how did you play with me? The Returnal's a single player game.
I don't know. I was thinking Deathloop. My bad.
Like, what are you talking about? I like that. Deathloop was fucking awesome. You know, that game was great. You know.
Yeah, I tried to play Returnal.
Yeah. Yeah,
I try.
After 30 hours of playing that fucking game, I think that was fair enough of me to play for that long. You know, I was like, okay, I can't do this. I told my editor, I'm like, listen, I can't review this game. I can't beat it. You know, because it would be, here's the thing. My general rule is if I play a game for 30 hours, I can review it, right? But I don't feel that it was fair to do that in that case. So I just said, you get a preview and that's it, you know?
I have to throw out my quick thing. I tried to play it, couldn't play it, called to complain. They told me to call the developer. I told them they were the developer. They told me to call the publisher. I told them they were the publisher, and they hung up on me.
Yeah. Drunken Guardian, do you finish your games for review? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends. You know, you don't need to beat every game. That's a stigma. Like, if you like, basically, with an RPG, 100-hour RPG, you will not have enough time to finish that shit, right? So 30, 40 hours, you're good to go. If you're playing something like Last of Us, finish that fucking game. It's only 10 hours. Finish that shit. You know, there's differences, you know. Like Tetris, you only need 1 hour to play that fucking game, bro. You know?
Dude, you only need to review the mechanics, and I think you only need to play as far into a game to unlock all the mechanics.
Yeah.
You're very rarely going to be able to, like, this story had a satisfying finish, but, like, if the game has a grappling hook, you should probably try and get the grappling hook.
Exactly. Simple things like, oh, I can't shoot in Doom. Like, there's guns, bro. What are you talking about? Oh, this game's only melee. It's all these guns. Like, no, come on, bro. Bob Hicks goes, did any of you Platinum Returnal? Listen, none of us here like Returnal, okay? We're going to be very honest about this. Throwdown does not like Returnal, okay? So, no Platinums here, you know? But, by the way, that's something very special because usually we don't agree on games. No Returnal for us, man.
You know? I don't even know what a Returnal is.
All right, man. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. I hope you guys enjoyed the diversion there. All right, mob hits. All right, with Microsoft and Sony now potentially on buying sprees, will the bigger studios become more expensive beyond their market value to acquire? Is this a perfect time for smaller studios to sell high? Carlos, you're our stocks guy here, so maybe you could crack this first. If he's even here. There he is.
It just really depends. I mean, company like what's it called? Bungie, they weren't even a public company; they were a private company, so their valuations are a lot more different than, let's say, someone like Activision. Activision was a public company. They sold based on an evaluation from last year, or what? I don't know. It was 2021 or one of the. So they paid more than the evaluation at a specific time, knowing that it was going to be in a year in advance. So they have for that instance, they do have to pay more than their actually, quote unquote perceived worth is or market cap is, because they have to buy the stocks of the major shareholders to acquire them. So it's more clear and cut with a public studio. So if one of these companies wants to buy a Roblox, for example, or an EA or a Take-Two, those are all public companies, and they can easily see sort of what kind of worth they have. And for a private company, I think it's a lot different because private equity isn't as clear, and they don't have to follow the same guidelines that a public company has to do, and a lot of those types of disclosures. So it's a lot more internal, and from a perspective from us, it's really hard to gauge that kind of quantifiable aspect of those types of companies. But this whole spree of buying these companies, I think, is a net positive in terms of valuations and selling over their worth. The crazy thing with Activision is they sold, they used an evaluation of a certain point, and their evaluation tanked right after that.
Yeah.
But after they bought them, they went up a little bit. But at the end of the day, even a year after, their worth, they might still be paying significantly more than they're actually worth for Activision, just from from where their stock is trading. But yeah, I mean, if there's a lot of buyers, there's there's going to be a lot of demand. There's always is generally going to be worth more. And like I mentioned last week, a company like Bethesda, they went for $7 billion. If let's say they didn't go for they didn't sell last year, and the Activision deal went on, and the Bungie deal went on this year, they'd sell way more than $7 billion today.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Yeah, I'm just glad he asked the question because a lot of people are saying that's like, oh, the studios going to become more expensive to buy now, or will studios raise their prices if somebody tries to acquire them?
Also, you got to take into account we're going through a high inflation period, so all these companies are going to sell way more than people think they're worth.
Yeah.
For example, Insomniac sold for $100 million. Like I think it was like a little over 100 million.
Yeah, it was pretty. I thought it was like 250 million, but I'll look into that.
Maybe so, around the hundreds.
It was cheap compared to billions,
Yeah, and if Insomniac would sell, today, man, they'd probably be $1 billion studio.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. 229 million. That's how much it costs.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah, compare that to like 3 billion or 7 billion or 70 billion.
Yeah.
J-Shep, perfect time to ask these questions, man. Do studios want to sell if they're not in financial trouble? Listen, if somebody comes up to you offering a lot of money and some good incentives, you're probably going to want to sell,
I mean, yeah, there is also that, but then,
like you could be doing just fine,
But you never hear about the companies that say nah.
Yeah, that's
Unless it's Activision.
Activision said nah to Microsoft initially.
But that's only after. That's only after.
No, this was before. That was before. Like, because Microsoft came to Activision, I don't know how long ago, but it was in the past. They came to them, Activision, and said, "No, we're good."
Yeah, it's just sometimes it's pretty lucrative to merge with these big companies. Like Microsoft is a huge freaking company. Like their stock is always going to be good.
Yeah, dude. If I had a game company, Microsoft wanted to buy me, like hell, fucking yeah, let's go.
It's like For example, Activision, their stock was tanking because of the internal, affairs that was going on with them, and that was enough to tank their whole freaking stock.
Yeah.
But if that happened under Microsoft, it might ding it a little bit, but that has nothing to do with Azure or Windows and all that stuff. So it's more secure. It's more secure to have stock compensation from Microsoft than it is to have from Activision Blizzard.
All of us on this show right now are using Windows. I'm telling you right now, man.
And benefits. There's just a whole bunch of things that go into this, but the one of the reasons why they won't sell is because just people don't want to give away their power.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good answer. Thank you. All right, move on here. Next question. This one's kind of funny. Cade and Antonio. Actually, by the way, Mob Hits has asked us, is it smart for Sony to develop 10 live service games? So in the last show, we said we don't think it is, but they're gonna try it regardless. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, in general, it's they're looking at what's going on in the world, and they're looking at what the constant cycle of cash, and everybody's trying to cash in on that thing. But again, there's no telling that whatever they develop, they supposedly have 10 live service games going on. That could just be 10. That could be just 10 garbages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. As for the question in hand here, Kate and Antonio, can a certain demographic of gamers, the type, learn to stop clamoring for buyouts, mergers, and acquisitions and slow down the inevitable singularity point of the conglomerate dystopia? Yeah. I mean, we all know who's very happy about these recent acquisitions, obviously, But the thing is, like, it's also Sony guys. They're pretty happy about the Bungie thing, too. So it's not just Microsoft guys going happy.
By the way, the main reason why the Sony people are happy with the Bungie is because they actually get to retaliate.
Yeah, they get a dunk. Yeah,
all the slander they receive from the Microsoft.
That's all they're happy about. Yeah, that's all they care about. No, you're right. You're right about that. But here's the thing, and this goes because again, I'm trying to find like a deeper thing with this question. Like, again, I can't answer this question. how do gamers benefit from this that aren't on those specific platforms? I still don't know the answer to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a Microsoft guy, right, and they buy Bethesda, obviously that's good for you, right? But if you're like a Sony guy, Nintendo guy, or whatever guy, like, how does it benefit you? How does the gaming industry benefit or gamers benefit from Sony buying Bungie? I've been trying to answer these questions for the last month. I don't know the answer.
I do. I can help you out.
Please. Okay. So you're the average gamer, right? Microsoft, yes. And you're on PlayStation. Fuck it, you're on PlayStation gamer. Microsoft just bought Activision. How does that benefit you?
There's kind of a ripple effect that happens. So if I'm a PlayStation gamer, I may not necessarily see the direct benefits from that, but I'm going to see a lot of indirect benefits in the sense that it's going to create a more competitive environment. It's going to, the only reason we raise the bar is to be competitive with other people. Otherwise, we really would advance a lot of shit, to be really honest. I've seen it happen with technology. I've seen it happen with art. I've seen it happen with a lot of stuff. So, yeah, it's the reason we have the graphics that we have today are because everybody was constantly trying to one-up each other. Who can make the prettiest graphics for the least memory? And it's a reason that we've advanced the gaming industry as far as we have. It's competition like that leads to progression. So while you may not see the direct advantage of Activision being bought, the competitive environment that it creates will benefit you in the long run.
But is it really competition if you're just gobbling up the competition?
Yeah, because it's all in the pursuit of who can make the funnest game, who can make the game the most people talk about for the longest amount of time and spend the most money on.
Is it?
Think about it. Think about it. Like
it seems to me like the goal is how many studios can we buy up to get us as much money as possible, and that's not.
You see a lot of games degrading in polish and whatnot.
Well, we haven't seen the long-term effects yet. These games haven't been.
We've seen game companies acquired by bigger publishers before, and almost always they come out with a more expansive, well-funded game.
No, I agree that, but again, Spider-Man, right? Insomniac, right? Sony buys Insomniac. How does that benefit the Xbox guy?
Because now Xbox is going to try and make a game that responds to Spider-Man, and they're going to make a game that is better than a game they would have made if they didn't have the competition of Spider-Man.
So, in other words, it's like you said, it's not really about the short-term game; it's about the long-term game. But
exactly.
Again, so I'm fully on board with that. But for the average person, they're not going to see it that way.
Dude, they're playing on the backs of that consequence. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't be like, well, I'm not seeing the benefit of game companies being acquired in a competitive environment as I'm playing on my next-gen console with high-fidelity graphics. You're sitting on the shoulders of all that competition that came before you. It's a direct consequence.
Yeah.
What Brett is talking is more of an indirect positive consequence, but it's not, at the end of the day, the companies are doing it not because they feel like there's a net benefit.
The money.
For them. It's all about the money, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's not a direct. It's not directly good for you. No.
Yeah, that's why. I do agree with Brett's statement about the competition because, for example, a thing like Game Pass. If Microsoft didn't acquire all those studios that made Sony think, oh shit, we can't have they don't have any games narrative pretty soon when they start chugging out all the Bethesda stuff, when they start chugging out all the Activision stuff, when they start chugging out all the other stuff, and the Halos and the Gears and the Forzas, and that's when they're gonna get. That's what made Sony, probably do the whole Spartacus thing, instead of just doing the status quo PS Now stuff. But by the way, I do want to mention that I think most of this conversation is just farce and bullshit. Because a lot of and I'm seeing the hypocrisy of all of this.
Here we go.
A lot of the people that were clamoring about why don't we get these games to be everywhere? Why don't everyone? Why can't everyone have the games to play? Those are the same people now that are championing Microsoft buying all of these companies and be like, well, they're buying these companies, because they has to be exclusive, without making a damn mention of the freaking fight that you were clamoring for, saying that shouldn't everyone have these games? Microsoft was on that pitch saying, oh, Microsoft, all the games should be available everywhere so everyone can play them. The Gears of Wars, I mean, yeah, the Gears of Wars but the God of Wars as well, and the Spider-Mans, because obviously they felt an inferiority complex because they didn't have quote unquote games. Now that they have a shit ton of games from all these studios, they're not going to clamor on this whole thing. And if Bethesda makes Starfield exclusive to Game Pass, they're forgetting their freaking rally flags and moving on to the next topic.
Hold on, Carlos, real quick. If they make it exclusive,
when?
When, bro?
Yeah, when?
Yeah. No, you're right about that. I do find that funny. It's like the same guys who were like, "Oh, games on everything," and then we get exclusives. Yeah, I'm like, "Hey, whoa! Just last week you were saying games got to be on everything, baby. What happened?" It
shows the true colors.
Yeah.
If you
Oh, I'm gonna call somebody out right now. Actually, no, Bray, go ahead. I gotta call somebody out. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I think if you could afford one game system, you could probably afford another. You can probably play on both platforms, and when you do, when you're kind of a multi-platform guy, that's when you can see how ridiculous a lot of this shit is and be fairly inconsequential. That's why a lot of us are just like, I mean, I don't know. At least for me, it's a good thing. I have an Xbox and a PlayStation. Yeah. So the more competition they have, the more polished games I'm going to get. So yeah, fight it out.
Yeah. Actually, Brett, on that point, using myself as an example, I'm one of those guys, but I'm on kind of the opposite end. I'm like, I own every system. Why should I give a fuck? That's the way I see it, Like, I'm on PC. I'm good. I got PlayStation. I even got this piece of shit right here. It's like I got everything. I'm good. What the fuck should I care who buys who? As long as the games keep coming, I don't care. I don't care who buys who. I don't give a fuck if there's only 3 game companies left. As long as I get games, I don't give a shit. That's the way I see it.
Games.
Yeah, exactly. Just like there's 4 credit cards out there. By the way, I think I'm going to take back what I said. I'm not going to call somebody out. But because he did eventually. No, I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. I'm just saying he looked like a hypocrite for a little bit. Then he changed his mind. I'm like, all right, you were consistent at least, but you were very quiet for a little while, Mister. Let's just say this guy's name is the.
He's doing it.
Manny
knows what's up.
Should I do it? He's the nemesis of
a. Anyway, Tony.
No, he's the nemesis of a certain famous detective. And I'll leave it at that, All right, I'll leave it alone now. But I'm talking about.
It's like Tony's playing just the tip version of calling someone out.
Basically, I don't know who in the staff got the joke, Anyway, let's move on, man. What are we up to right now? Okay, here we go. Last 2 questions of the night, people.
What?
All right, Black Viet. By the way, does he mean he's a Black Soviet? That's the way I kind of read that name. But I could be
or a Black Vietnamese or.
Would that be a Blasian?
Probably.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So
let us know.
Yeah, let us know for sure, man. That would be dope. Vietnamese. Shout out to Vietnam. Yeah. All right. According to a report from Windows Central, Halo Infinite is struggling to retain players with its free-to-play PvP. In light of this, is Sony's plan to launch 10 live service games wise, or should the company stick to what it does best, i.e. single-player games? Here's the thing. I don't bemoan Sony trying to expand to multiplayer games. But, man, that track record ain't so good as we talked about earlier, Yeah. And as we saw with Halo, who's surprised by that? I am not surprised at all, this shit dropped off like that.
Well, we're still waiting for the key feature to arrive, which is co-op. Yeah, that was what made Halo fun to play with your buddies, that you can go and then when you add that this is an expansive open world, me and my boys want to go and run through, and we're like, we'll be back when this comes back, and it has not returned. I don't know when the date is. Now they're saying maybe March. So we'll see.
It's early access. I'm waiting for full release.
Oh, hold on, real quick. No, the Halo struggling is not a matter of opinion. You see the numbers. The numbers prove it. So that's not a matter of opinion there.
Everyone's like, yeah. You want to play this co-op game by yourself? You play by yourself now. We'll let you play it with your friends in a few months. But you can play by yourself now.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. I'll wait.
No, it's like, hey, go play with some randoms online. Like, nah, I don't want to play with no randoms.
No, I even like playing with randoms, man. Like that's the Dark Souls thing. Just a jolly co-op. Even with Dying Light, it doesn't advance your story. I just keep jumping in other people's stories, kicking zombies in the face. Why? Because I'm a benevolent guy.
Well, there's only two people that I want to play with: my friends and the Japanese.
But see, that's the thing. If you play with some randos that suck, you're the Japanese.
Yo, Carlos, I thought you're gonna, by Halo, I thought you're gonna be like, I only want to play with two people, my friends and Tony. Like, Tony.
No, but by the way, Brett, the Japanese thing is a Monster Hunter.
It's Monster Hunter, yeah.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you think they see you, man?
Oh yeah,
they see me as a a freaking lesser than gamer.
Yeah, like they have to see all Monster Hunter like, oh, here's four dense half retards. All right, here we go.
To be fair though, that's the way we look at Westerns. If I could read your name in Monster Hunter, I'm like, oh man.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. You can have the opportunity to be that Japanese guy in Monster Hunter, like jump in it like in Dying Light or in Dark Souls and be like, what's up, pleb? Like, let me help you out here.
If the name I'm talking about. If the name doesn't have random squiggly lines, I'm disappointed.
Because I will put Chris up against any Japanese rando.
In Monster Hunter, no, those guys are better than Chris.
Monster Hunter, they're stupid.
Listen, this is the way it is, right? When we play Monster Hunter,
just in game in general.
Okay, I'm talking about Monster Hunter. Like, for example, us, right? When we get together, right, we're the fucking Expendables, right? Whipping all kinds of ass. But when we get the Japanese guys, that's the Justice League. Those guys are hardcore, bruh.
No, I agree. Like I fly through the air with the greatest of ease in Monster Hunter, but y'all know in at least Dying Light 1, like I was fucking murder Santa.
Oh man.
Yeah, I wouldn't even accept the title for that. I would say Brian would be the better guy to demolish things in Monster Hunter. Oh, yeah. If you want a tour of any Souls world, I'll gladly do that.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about across all games because I've played Souls games with you. You come in that shit like a Japanese guy in Monster Hunter, just wham, 3-shot a boss.
Well, by the way, I just gotta. This is the the elephant in the room. Brian is a weird thing.
Uh-oh.
This whole Monster Hunter thing. He just he came out of nowhere and he surpassed everyone. I never saw any of it. He could be Broly or he could be Yamcha. I don't know who he is.
Oh damn.
That means we got one day we got to play.
We got to we got to put him to the test.
We got to test the skills, put it to the test.
Okay, you don't know who I am, but all I'm going to say is that I soloed Fatalis on my second solo attempt.
This is how hardcore Brian is. None of us even got to Fatalis. That's how hardcore he is.
And I don't even know who Fatalis is. That's how hardcore that is.
That lets you know, right, Brian, in that sentence, you said it all right there, brother. We ain't fucking with you.
Places the rest of us, he just in like 5 games.
It's like, hey, that boss you guys never faced? I beat him in 1 and 2 tries.
Yeah, Brian goes hard.
Go and fight Fatalis, and then you'll see what I mean. Like, he was like the one. Okay, him and Teostra, like the two that just terrify me. Like everything else is fine. Like no Gigante, I don't care anymore. You're just like a hedgehog now. You're damn adorable. Safi Jiva, you guys haven't even fought Safi Jiva yet. You probably
we have.
We have.
Yeah. Safi Jiva, she's fun now. I like to set up camp like when she does the flame thing because I don't care anymore. But Fatalis, Fatalis scares the crap out of me. And when you fight him, if ever you do, you'll know why. Like I hope that you'll do it live, like on like a live stream, because I want to see your reaction to it. Because I can imagine exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, we just got to
unlock it. Chris saying, "What the fuck, man?" And then Tony saying, "I can't get my moves out. He's too damn powerful." And then Carlos will just be saying "damn" the whole damn time because Fatalis is like that.
That's
the whole time. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, go ahead.
Fatalis is that guy.
By the way,
like it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But real quick, I like how when we were playing, it was like primarily me, Chris, and Tony. It's like they like they knew my specific yells so they could know how to heal me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh shit, get Carlos.
Throw the dust.
Oh, by the way, Logic Wing goes, I was watching Hip Hop Gamer Sifu live stream just now. The game looks fire. Was he using cheat codes though?
Oh shit.
Funny enough, he's actually not, because I'm watching it as well. Live.
Good. Respect.
It is entertaining, I will say that.
Ooh, hold on real quick. Shout out to Valadier, who was rating with 47, man. Shout out to Valadier. I think that's my homie Andrew, I believe, man. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Yo.
All right, it just as we're about to wrap up the show, right?
Wait, how does it Fatalis? I've never seen this before.
Fatalis wins.
So
he's a Mortal Kombat character, obviously.
It does sound like a Mortal Kombat character. By the way, so Tony, which one was the one in the Monster Hunter Iceborne one where we fought that shot the freaking hyper beam thing?
The one in the crater, right?
Yeah, the one in the crater.
Shadow Ishvalda.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the last thing we fought. And then the credits roll. We're like, oh, we beat the game. Great. You know?
Compared to that, yeah, Shadow Ishvalda is nothing.
Yeah, and that thing was waxing us for a bit, you know?
That thing destroyed us so many times.
To be fair, though, it was a Western guy that helped us with that, I believe, wasn't it?
I think it was,
Yeah, it was,
well,
yeah. Diamond
we got a Chinese guy, remember?
Oh, Chinese
and
dude,
he was good, but like I don't know what happened.
Yeah. But then we had a Western guy and he helped us out. It was good, you know.
There was that one time we did get that Japanese guy that was really bad, and I'm like,
yeah, we're like, what is this? I just thought maybe he's a little kid. He's just starting, you know.
Maybe he's getting started with the game. Maybe he's getting started with life.
Like, it's on a.
I still remember this one time. My cousin was playing some Japanese ass and they sung like, "Man, you're supposed to be natural born kaiju hunters. What the fuck?"
They said their expectations are always set high.
You already know, man. All right, last question of the night here. This one is from Bilbo Swaggins. Great name.
Wait! Before we even talk about this, before we get to this question, there was something very important that we needed to do this episode.
Please fill me in, man.
And it involved Chris.
Oh.
Financials. Remember, we put it off till.
Yo, this show's already running late, so I think we should just run it on Thursday if that's okay with you, Chris.
All right.
Yeah. No, you're right. I do have spreadsheets.
Yeah, do you want? We got to end the show. I would.
Yeah.
No, like, man, I gotta go sleep.
I gotta work, man. I got work in the morning, bro. You know,
I gotta go sleep. I gotta go to work.
Yeah. So you know what? The first thing we'll do on Thursday, we'll do the financials for you guys. We owe it to you. You know. And you guys didn't ask us the question, man. Just saying.
But yes, Manny remembered. I did put together sheets.
We'll be ready. We'll be ready. No Microsoft though, right? Because you know.
I don't have a Microsoft.
We don't need that. Here. It's too much to make it. You know. All right, Logic Wayne. He goes, I got to go to work too. Damn, son. All right, I hope you're going to sleep to go to work, not going to work.
Graveyard shift.
I mean, there's some folks that listen to our show and they come home late. Mr. Dio is one of them. So
yeah, a lot of our listeners listen to us at work. You know, so we're glad we could provide you with entertainment. You know. All right, man. So last question of the night. All right, what's the future of live service games on PlayStation over the next few years?
Who knows?
Listen, man, all I got to say is, as we said on the Thursday show, there's a big graveyard of these games, bro. A lot of dead games. So it's going to be dicey, to say the least, you know? Again, we named them, right? Crucible, Anthem, you know, there's a bunch of these fucking games.
There's
the two Cliff Blazinski ones. Remember those? Lawbreakers, and the other one, you know?
I wonder. Here's the thing. I wonder if I definitely think that the investment in, with the exception of Destiny, I think the investment for a lot of these live service games aren't a lot. So that's why you could possibly churn out 10 of them, if they're going to be specifically low budget and they're going to essentially add onto it as the games go on, as live services do.
Insomniac might do one in their free time. those dudes churn out games like crazy.
Yeah. MVP.
Well, I mean, they seem because they seem to have their things in order, right? Whatever their engine is was conducive to creating these sorts of games. But yeah, like literally 3 games in a row, not far from each other either. Spider-Man, then Miles Morales, then Ratchet and Clank,
Wolverine.
Oh well, we don't know when Wolverine's coming. So.
Yeah, we don't know. All right. Yeah.
Coming.
So yeah, we can't really answer this question. We have no idea. I just saying it's going to be very dicey, very precarious for Sony, given the history of live service games.
Well, they will have Destiny 3 will probably be heavily it'll be big.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, what is it? So like Destiny and the Division are like the 2 main ones that are like kind of set the example, right? I realize Call of Duty is kind of it, but I don't consider it either. You know what I'm saying? Because we get a new game every year. I'm talking about the same game.
Article.
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw an article or a video somewhere saying that Destiny 2 is the second most played, and people are gonna lose their minds by the way it was titled, and I disagree as well. But it said it's like the second most played MMO of all time, like behind WoW.
I don't know, but it's not an MMO though.
Yeah, I know. I know that clarification, that distinction is not. I don't agree with it.
But the numbers are impressive.
But the numbers are impressive. Yeah, they definitely are. So that's going to be their bread and butter when it comes to live service games. Everything else is probably it's all gravy after that.
Yeah. J Shep goes, I just remember, doesn't Destiny have action figures? Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, they were made by Todd Toys, if I remember correctly, right? Or at least he did some Destiny stuff. He told me all about it at E3. I told this story before. Like me and Chris, we ran into Todd McFarlane outside of the EA play that year at E3, and I started asking him questions. He just starts talking my ear off, and I'm like, oh shit, I got an appointment in 10 minutes, and Todd McFarlane doesn't stop talking. Like, what do I do?
Hey. Well, I mean, Todd McFarlane is like that. He's excited about those things.
Yeah, and I wanted to hear what he had to say, but it's like I thought he was going to give me a quick little answer and go on his way. Nope.
No, he'll give you, especially since you're media, he'll want to talk to you.
Yeah, no, he saw that badge on me and Chris, like, oh shit,
Yeah, man.
All right, good show there.
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
I just have something to say. Yeah, I'm actually quite concerned about the whole live services on Sony platform. Purely just because, again, what was brought up earlier on the show was the fact that Sony likes to dip their toes and stuff, and they don't like to commit. And with a live service game, you kind of have to commit, or else you don't have a service by definition. I mean, it's like a live service and then just backing away from it. You can't do that. That's how they die, and that's how they die fast. So, with a live service, you have to put it out there and then put effort into it. That's why Rainbow Six Siege is like the way it is, because Ubisoft, they put it out. It didn't get great reviews when it first came out, but they kept with it. They put effort into it, and it became what it is now.
So we have Division 2 content coming.
Exactly.
There's more of that. It's crazy.
Like with a live service, you have to commit to it, or else it'll just fall apart. And I think that with making 10 in like 4 years, it just seems really weird and dumb. Yeah. Like for many reasons. I mean, firstly, it's like it's equivalent to 1 every 6 months. It means that we all seen what happened with EA and Titanfall. Like they put it out at the same time as Battlefield. Battlefield just cannibalized it, and that was the end of that. It's very unfortunate. So now just think of that, but times 10, because now Sony's like, hey, let's make 10 games all the same feel within like 6 months of each other and expect people to be invested in it. It's like you'll not have enough people to keep the games up. And I think it seems like Sony's just not, like, everything just seems to be pointing to Sony is going to make all these games fail, and it's really annoying me because it just seems like there's not going to be enough resources put into it. There's not going to be enough effort to upkeep them afterwards. They'll cannibalize their own people because, again, they'll have 10 games of the same ilk coming out at around the same time, i.e. 4 years. And it all just seems to be a recipe for all of them are going to fail. Like, probably there'll be one that does relatively well, but the rest will pretty much just come out, enjoy maybe 2-3 months of good praise, and then suddenly it'll just disappear. And it's not making me happy. I'm highly concerned.
I think you should be, I think you should. Again, you got to combine all these things, right? Sony's kind of proclivity for just dipping your toes and shit, the nature of live service games, the fact that gamers just don't have the bandwidth for that many titles. There's a lot of things working against all this, but again, I think Sony's just going, if one of these sticks, that's all we need. But then you have 9 dead games, that'll just be footnotes. So is that really a wise decision? I don't think so. That's why, in general, all of us here are kind of skeptical about this whole thing. And I think people in general should be,
And I also forgot the stigma. Because, like, let's say that it's the 5th game that turned out to be, like, really good. They've had 4 games before that may have been not that great. And then by the time they get to that 5th game, which is actually really good, they'll have that stigma of, oh, it's another live service game from Sony, just like the last 4. And that stigma will just carry up. So they pretty much need to hit it big on the first 2, or else that stigma will just continue to build. And then you'll have a Bethesda-like situation where it's like, oh, it's those guys that make those games,
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Look what happened to Guardians of the Galaxy. Fantastic game, but the stink of Avengers rubbed off on it, so people were hesitant,
By the way, Kishak says, didn't people criticize Sony for not having multiplayer games? And that they do, and I mean, it is something there. It is a gaping hole in their catalog when it comes to these big multiplayer games. But we know that Sony isn't good at making them, and at least for us, the people in the panel, we're not really fans of live service games. So give us live service games and our knowledge of Sony when they work on something we know they're not good at, and how easily they cut it off as soon as they know it's not profitable or something that they can build a future with, like the Vita and stuff. It's like we kind of see where it's going. But at least with an acquisition like Bungie, we know that they can make a live service game that's successful.
And I want to jump on that point, because that's the thing. Because I see what he's trying to say. It's like, hold on, you guys were criticizing, not us Throwdown, but just in general, people criticize Sony for not having any multiplayer games. Now you're criticizing for having too many. No, if we were just get the news, hey, Sony has Destiny exclusive or whatever, right? We're like, great, they needed that. 10 games like this, that's when we're like, hold on. That's not going to work. Realistically, that is not going to work at all. So I think it is right to criticize it, even if you do want multiplayer games. They're not mutually exclusive things here, That's like going, hey, I need some milk, right? And you buy like 50 cartons of milk. Like, the shit's, most of it's going to go rotten, right? Like, it's going to spoil here, So I think we question the number of games. If they were to go, hey, we're going to try to do 2 or 3 live service games between now and 2026, cool, that's fine. 10 of them, like Brian said, 6 every 6 months. Come on, bro. How many of those are going to be successful? So I think it's right to question it, while also demanding more multiplayer games. You could have both, but we'll have to see about that. I don't know. I'll go off on a rail. I'll stop. Any other thoughts on this before we wrap up here?
Nope.
All right. Warhawk. Yeah, I remember. Riku's favorite game, I believe,
Remember this? Never Land.
And that's the other thing, I will say that's the other thing. Yes, there is a certain subsect of PlayStation gamers that do want multiplayer games, but, and generally speaking, PlayStation gamers don't really care for that. I'm talking about the hardcore guys, not the casual people who buy PlayStations. Most PlayStation guys, they like their single-player games. They like their Last of Us. They like their God of Wars. They like their Horizons. They like their Uncharted.
There's a song written about it. Remember that song about Sony, and when they were asked about, they did the focus groups, and our audience, they don't want multiplayer games. They're not into all of that.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. I'm talking about like the hardcore players. Obviously, casual players would love Call of Duty and Madden. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the hardcore PlayStation guys. Again, that's why I like Sony, because they give me the games I like. I like my single player action games. But I'm kind of the minority, but that's generally the hardcore PlayStation guy. That's what they like. And these multiplayer games, they'll probably they're going to bring in other people, which is probably what they hope, which would be good, obviously. But the hardcore PlayStation guys, yes, I know there's some guys that are fans of The Last of Us multiplayer, fans of Uncharted. I get that. But by and large, they like their single-player experiences, you know? So we'll see how this goes. A 24-hour stream, get the fuck out of here. Not on Throwdown. We would never do that, you know? All right, man. So anything to plug around here?
Nope. Still waiting on the go-ahead on most of that stuff.
Very good. NDAs, man. Got to respect the NDAs.
Yep, non-disclosure agreements.
You already know. Adam, you got anything?
No, nothing. Yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of reviews, like you mentioned, Sifu, and a few other ones coming up on the site. And, Walking Dead, if anyone's interested, that is coming back on, I think, the 20th. So we have a few more weeks before that actually happens. This is Walking Dead proper, Mothership. So that'll be good. So if you want to catch up, we got the podcast, myself, Rich Bailey Jr., Carlos. It's called I Am Negan. So you can check that out. iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. But yeah, that's it. That's it. We got some time, so.
Yeah. Also, I'm on the latest episode of Crashing Game Night podcast. Go over and YouTube episode is up. I was only there for 45 minutes because it was right before Throwdown, but we had a good discussion with the fellas about all the craziness that happened last week, you know. Yeah, Baby Carlos will have his own anime podcast. We'll see, right? That's Jay Shep's asking about that, you know.
Yo, by the way, I just got to mention it. This last episode of Demon Slayer, it's the best fucking animation I've ever seen. Like,
really?
Nothing comes close. Like, at least as far as TV is concerned, like this rivals a lot of freaking movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous, man. Oh my god, Demon Slayer is so freaking good. Go watch it.
All right, there you go, people.
Attack on Titan was good too, by the way.
Okay. Tell me it's better than the good animation in Attack on Titan?
Well, the Demon Slayer compared to Attack on Titan?
Yeah, well,
yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, by the way, the people who make Demon Slayer is Ufotable. They're probably the best animation studio in Japan. Probably the best animation studio ever.
Ever?
Oh yeah, It's stupid good how good their stuff looks. It's so good.
It's so good. All right, let's wrap up. We could talk about that off air. All right, make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter, and join the Discord where Mob Hits is always dropping the hottest rumors and speculations. You can find us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. 2 words, Throwdown Show. We're on everything, man. Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, all that good stuff. You know, even places I've never even heard of. We're there, you know. Throwdownshow.com to listen to previous episodes. And if you're on YouTube and you enjoyed the content, be sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when premieres go up, which is Monday and Friday nights at 10:45 p.m. Eastern. Links to everything down below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco. And tonight, I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
After the atrocity that was the last attempt at adapting Berserk, I don't think they should, Mighty Nerd. Later, guys.
Adam Vale.
Have a good week, everybody.
Brett Murdoch. And Brian Manjoma.
I'm going to say it now. Pokemon Legends is a deeper horror game than Dark Souls.
Legends or Arceus or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's the same one.
Okay. Oh, damn. Okay. Damn. It's more horror shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. All right, people. We'll see you on Thursday. Chris will give you them financials, man. So get ready. Later.
Peace.
Latest.
This is...